All right, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for Tuesday, August 5th at 6 p.m. If you would please stand and join us in the invocation.
Please pray with me if you'd like to. Dear Lord, as we come together today, grant us the strength to honor our obligations to the people of St. Lucie County. We hold in our hearts the memory of firefighter Jarius Hodge, whose unexpected passing deeply affected our community. May his courage continue to inspire our service to all who keep us safe. Lord, guide this board as they tackle critical issues from environmental stewardship to infrastructure safety. And bless our collaborative effort as we chart the course forward, one grounded by tradition, focused on the future, and committed to service. In your name we pray. Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could remind everyone to please turn your phones on silent at this time. And Mr. Landry, thank you for including Jarius or Jay Hodge in your prayer today. Just wanted to hit on that real quick. Anyone that's not familiar, the fire district lost an incredible young man, Jarius Jay Hodge, 26 years old, about a week ago. We attended his ceremony on Saturday. It was beautiful, well attended, and I just wanted to share what an amazing young man he is. Please keep his family in your thoughts. And Commissioner Clasby, I don't know about you, but again, the things that stood out about this young man that were said over and over again, people spoke about his smile, his positivity, and his quiet strength. And we will forever remember him, and he will forever be a part of the fire district family. So thank you for that. With that, if I could go into approval of the agenda with the additions, deletions, and revisions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's no presentations. Before I open it up to general public comment, I want to acknowledge we have with us this evening Representative Dana Trabolsi with us. Representative Trabolsi, would you like to take this opportunity to give us a quick rundown about maybe session and all the good stuff coming back to St. Lucie County, and I don't know, maybe a look ahead at this next crazy session coming up?
Oh boy. Well, thank you so much. Is my microphone on?
I think so. Is that on? Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to present to you. Not that it's a presentation, but allowing you to speak to you before you get the meeting started. I would like to, first of all, say I'm really excited to have my office here at the county building. It was a really hard decision to leave Indian River State College. They have been great to me, but I really felt like the need to bring all of our representatives, meaning you and I, together to serve our constituents better in one place was the right move to make. So I'm super happy to be here. Look forward to a little housewarming party in a month or so that we can all get acquainted with your staff here and other folks that work at the county. Also, I'd like to thank Courtney Calderon and Lori Rocky for all their hard work over session. I don't know if either one of them are here tonight. If you are not, just know that I am so appreciative of all your work, always answering the phone day or night, 24/7, and providing me and my staff with the best information possible. So that support really, really means a lot. So this legislative session was a little bit spicy. What was supposed to have been a 60-day session turned into a 105-day session. With that, 1,951 bills were filed for consideration and 228 were signed by the governor. We did have a few vetoes, one being a bill of mine, my first veto by the governor. Painful, but I do plan to run it again, so stay tuned. We also had $567 million in line item vetoes to the final budget, which ended up at $115.6 billion. And this year marks the second consecutive year of a year-over-year reduction in state spending. If you happen to have watched any of session, our main topic and goal was to definitely reduce the money, the spending, and in the House we took a very strong stance to that and made comments several times that Florida has a spending problem and we need to get it under control. That is the primary reason that session extended so long, is because we just could not get in line with the Senate and the governor's office. But it is our constitutional obligation, it's our only constitutional obligation as a legislator to pass a balanced budget. So I'm glad that we finally did. Just a few facts about the budget. It maintains $12.4 billion in reserves. Our rainy day fund is at $4.9 billion, and there's $130 million is allocated for accelerated debt repayment. In Florida, we continue to achieve record economic and educational success. We're ranked #1 in the nation for education, educational freedom, higher education, entrepreneurship, and business formation. A fun fact is since 2019, 3.7 million new jobs have been created in Florida, or new businesses, jobs have been created in Florida. And this year's budget continues to support our state key priorities, which are teachers' pay, law enforcement bonuses and pay raises, records amount of K through 12 per pupil funding, $1.4 billion to continue Everglades restoration and water quality initiatives, and $15 billion was also allocated in Florida's decades ahead of schedule transportation and infrastructure project. The budget will save families about $428 million through permanent and new tax relief holidays. These include back to school holidays, which are in full swing right now through the month of August, event tickets, state park tickets, life jackets, bike helmets, disaster preparedness, and new September through December for outdoor enthusiasts. We will have hunting and fishing tax relief. We've also finally permanently eliminated business rent tax, which has been long coming, and we're really excited to provide that for businesses in Florida. Along with the tax relief in Florida, we've made historic investments in mental health, cancer research, the child welfare system, and Alzheimer's disease. A few key takeaways from this session are the My Safe Florida Home program, which is fully funded, and it is in its open window right now for Group 1. Group 1 is for lower income and citizens that are homeowners that are over 60, so I qualify for this, and it's pretty disparaging, but I do. But this is a 2-for-1 match grant up to $10,000 for home hardening projects if you are approved. There'll be a group 1 through 5 or 6, I believe, and it will start with the highest age and the lowest income and work its way down. We piggybacked off of that with the My Safe Florida condo pilot program, which will extend the same type of 2-to-1 up to $10,000 benefit for condo owners as long as you live within 15 miles of a coastline. After the devastation from Champlain Towers, and we even saw here last year where we've had some condos that have had to be evacuated, we did put in some really stringent laws in Florida to help circumvent what might be future disasters, but we understand that there's also a burden to the condo owners, so we have extended the SIRS testing, and we've also given the opportunity for condo owners to receive a low or no interest loan to pay for their reserves, so that it'll help keep them financially stable. Representative Snyder, just down the road, and our own Representative Harrell passed the State Park Preservation Act this year. And what this means is we will not be building hotels, golf courses, tennis courts, ballparks on our state park land. That's just enough said. Should have never happened to begin with. We did have one election integrity bill this year, and this is for citizens petitions, and it's just to keep the citizen petition initiative, clean and eliminate fraud. So citizens initiative would have been like the marijuana amendment that we had on the ballot, or perhaps the abortion amendment that we had on the ballot, where there may have been people coming in from out of state filling out petitions. And what this does is not only limit the amount of petitions that can be turned in at one time to the supervisor, but also they have to be verified either with a last 4 digits of a social security number or your driver's license. So we want to make sure that the people that are filling out petitions to vote on initiatives in our state actually live in our state. The last bill I'll talk about is my own bill, which is House Bill 1255. It's a really comprehensive education bill. There's a lot to it, but the two things that are really stand out to me are, one, shockingly enough, we're going to have to give permission for corporal punishment in our schools. I had no idea that corporal punishment was still allowed in Florida until I ran this bill, but this will give an opt-in to parents if they would like their child to participate or have corporal punishment. The second thing about this is school readiness. So school readiness is birth through 5. It's such a large population with working parents. Right now, $5.9 billion in lost revenue every year in Florida is because parents can't afford to go to work. So we recalculated a formula. It used to be based on federal poverty rate, and now it's based on state median income. And what that will do is allow more children into the school readiness program so that parents will not have to make the choice between taking a dollar raise and deciding if they can or cannot work. To me, that's one of the most valuable things. I'm biased, but early education is a passion of mine, and everything begins in birth through 5. So if we can invest more in those kiddos, then we won't have to do as much remediation in the end. For St. Lucie County, it was a really good year. I'll go through this quickly with some appropriations that we got. Some serve you directly by appropriations that I filed for you and Representative Overdorf filed for you, and some are state allocations that you will receive. And some directly just affect our community as a whole. So the ARC received $1 million. Graceway Village, who's here tonight, received $1 million. If I were a commissioner, I'd totally vote up on your funds for today. St. Lucie County Portable Generator, $206,000. Community Connected for Kids, which is our foster care system here in St. Lucie County, $500,000. The Treasure Coast Food Bank is opening up a new facility. They were funded at $1 million. We had a historic preservation grant at $50,000. The Fort Pierce Police Department had an investigative infrastructure grant for $241,000. Fort Pierce 13th Street Phase 3 reconstruction at $500,000. The Unified Command Vehicle for St. Lucie County, $375,000. UF IFAS received $540,000. New Horizon, $1.3. Indian River, actually that's a different one. Our seagrass restoration, $600,000. Really excited to get $5 million for FPUA to help complete that wastewater treatment transition. And then Project Lift received $300,000. Water quality projects, not including FPUA or seagrass, was at $3,700,000, and the money allocated to St. Lucie County for local government reimbursements, transportation, highway safety construction, grants, resurfacing, engineering, construction, consulting, and right-of-way acquisitions was just at $70 million. In closing, I would like to say that we have 2 new insurance companies, homeowner insurance companies, that have come in to Florida recently, which makes us more competitive, hopefully bringing down our costs. We've already started to see that, and just as of last week, we've seen automobile insurance start to decline. So I would highly suggest you or anybody that's here tonight to please go and get a new quote because your insurance will probably come down. And with that, I just thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a great pleasure serving you and working with you.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. So, quick haha, because you know my husband. Could you remind everyone again when the hunting and fishing tax relief week time frame is, please?
Yes, that will go. It's a good one. September 8th through December 31st is the hunting and fishing sales tax relief. So even if you buy a boat, it's on the list. So
Don't encourage them.
Santa's watching right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much, and everything that you do brought home a lot of money. It's not an easy job being away from home, being away from family. So you couldn't pay me to do it, and you do a fantastic job. So with that, I'll bring it back to the other commissioners if there's any comments or.
Thank you for the update. We really appreciate it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Just looking.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Lowry.
Thanks for all your hard work, Dana. We really appreciate all that you do for the community, and we know that you work hard every day, and there's never a day off, so thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Clasby.
I just wanted to go ahead and echo the thanks as well, but could you outline the other sales tax holidays? We're currently in one for school supplies.
Yes, we are currently in one for the entire month of August for school supplies. We are also currently in one for hurricane supplies. Those are both permanent tax holidays that we will hold. And also effective right now are baby supplies too. So cribs, strollers, carriers, those baby items are all on the list as well. And you can visit the Department of Revenue for the state of Florida's website, and they can give you an entire list and an entire rundown of what is included.
Thank you.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
I mean, they said all. I do want to say, Danny, you've done a great job. I remember when you first started this journey, you had skepticism, but you have done like you always do, and you've rose to the occasion, and you're an overachiever, and you've always been kind to us, and you've brought back more than the last two representatives combined. So you've served us well. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to keep doing it.
Thank you. All right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up now for general public comment. If there's anyone wishing to address the board on any of the consent agenda items or the regular agenda, now would be your time. Good evening. Sir, if I could get you to start off with your first and last name and address for the secretary.
Alan Montgomery, 2376 Johnston Road, Pierce.
Now, Mr. Montgomery, you're able to speak now, but if you're wanting to speak on the Johnson Road project, that's a public hearing, and that'll start here in a few minutes. It's up to you.
I understand that. Thank
Okay.
you. Yes. I won't go over my resume. You have several people who have heard it, and you haven't. I'm sure somebody can clue you in. I have quite a bit of experience to speak on the topic here. I wanted to thank and commend Commissioner Townsend for the fantastic job she's been doing for District 5. She's been boots on the ground for us. 12 noon, 12 midnight, doesn't matter. We've had a problem with a project or a property to the east of us for 10 years now, a decade. Loud music, it's a party venue, illegal, obviously, unlicensed. Talked to code enforcement. Code enforcement officer is very nice. You probably need to check on your best practices for code enforcement. I don't think they have the tools they need. Talked to the sheriff's office. No disrespect to this gentleman here, but they're useless. They're useless, I'm sorry. So we couldn't get anything done. Finally got hold of Kathy. She came out at midnight one night to break up a party out there that was probably 500 inebriated people. Okay, so she gets kudos for that. I think that's above and beyond. And I'm sorry I don't know the rest of you. I haven't had a chance to, you may all meet that standard, but it's a high standard to meet, I'll say that, that's for sure. The other thing I want to address is we have it's a pervasive perception of unethical conduct around the county as far as county governance, and I'm not stepping on anybody's toes here, but we've had the recent commissioner, the city manager, 2 last sheriffs, assistant chiefs down in Port St. Lucie, fraud and forgery. I mean, it's just been one thing after the other. And I would appreciate it if this body could see their way to maybe come up with a resolution or something to say that this is just not acceptable, okay? This unethical conduct is just not acceptable in this county. I don't accept it. I don't think any of you accept it. But it's here, so we got to do something about it. And you are our leaders, so I would appreciate it if you could, put your heads together. You're all smart people. Put your heads together and see if you can come up with a way to address this problem, because it's a problem. And it's been going on for a long time, as you probably well know. I've been here 25 years now, and it's been a problem then. Before I came here, I was aware of the problems here that were similar in nature. So, it's been since the 1980s I'm aware of. So, anything you can do, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Good evening, sir.
My name is Bernard Williams, and I live at 5010 Grady Drive. And my request is the dirt road there. Actually, it's a canal bank and everything. And I had asked Devosky, Commissioner Devosky, a few years ago about trying to get something done about the dust, because there's more traffic traveling the road, and there are thrill seekers. They drive faster than normal and everything. So I tried to get them to do 15 miles an hour speed limit sign there. Now, proposal that I would have of the 15 miles an hour speed limit would be like a 30-inch double bike warning 15 miles an hour. I know they told me that they kind of got an ordinance of all street 25 miles an hour. But since that's less than a secondary road, more like a third-dairy road or fourth, that the commissioner could make an exception and do a 15 miles an hour. And the other proposal would be to block it off at 51st, because the few houses that's there, we've got access at 51st and 45th. And 53rd is the one that would need to be blocked off. And that would stop through traffic from flying through there. Because the waterways is just a little strip of waterways along the canal bank. It's kind of an adventure sightseeing. But doing it at 50, 70 miles an hour bring a little more thrill to people. And most of them that travel through there, that speed, don't live in the area. They just take it as a throughway and to make a dust storm. And so if anything can be done to in that note and everything like that, we would definitely appreciate it. Because I can't even walk out in the evening to the edge of the road to take in the scenery late in the evening. I have to get back in because of the dust. And now this summer it's been a little more drier. I usually get more of a break in the summertime. I mean, yes, in the summertime because of the rain gets started, but lately it's been kind of dry, and they took advantage of it. And I asked one time that they did oblige me through the county. During the winter, they kind of slowed the grader from coming and grading the road so much, because every time he graded, it just makes up a nice puffy road for the traffic and make more dust. And I don't know why, but they never seem to realize that when they stir more dirt from with the grader, that they would that the traffic make more dust when they fly through. So, and I live in District 1 there, so if y'all as the board and everything could vote on it and everything like that, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Is there anyone else willing to address the board under general public comment?
Madam Chair, before you close, I'd like to read an email that was sent to my office. I don't know if you received it, but I'd like to do it before the staff leaves because it's addressing the staff, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
It says, Commissioner, I've lived in about 10 other counties, 3 in Florida, before moving here 12 years ago. No other county staff personnel are even in the same league as those that have assisted me. As an active member of our condo association, I've dealt with departments such as zoning, permitting, health, recycling. As a citizen, I've dealt with other departments such as driver's license, auto registration, voting, taxes, and the sheriff. In St. Lucie County, the staff always seems to be happy to hear from me and answers my questions. They usually have the answer, and when they don't, they do the research and get back to me in a timely manner. I would like to thank and congratulate the folks who do the hiring and the training, and I can never thank them enough for their service to make St. Lucie County a wonderful place to live. Folks in other counties can learn a great deal about how to deal with the public from your personnel. Appreciatively, Bob Alexander. So it's not often that we get a good letter, and I wanted staff to hear that he took the time out to email me. I don't know if he emailed y'all, but when I receive these, I always like for staff to know that there are people out there that they see your worth, and I think this is worth praising. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Commissioner Townsend. That's fantastic. Because we know how fantastic they are, and how hard they work. All right. So closing public comments. Moving on for approval of the consent agenda. Is there anyone wanting to pull anything for discussion?
Do the minutes.
I made too many notes on here. Need approval? No, there's no item scheduled for the minutes.
Oh, there are none.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
All right, consent agenda. I'm just going to jump in here real quick, and I just want to point out 9K1, which is feasibility study for Palm Gardens drainage, which is District 4. It's the little neighborhood tucked in there just south of Midway, east of US 1. Very exciting. So just wanted to point that out. I know a lot of residents have been very eager to hear about some drainage improvements in that neighborhood. So
And I'd like to pull a couple things.
Absolutely.
I'd like to comment on 9K2. This is the Johnston Road Canal culvert replacement. It's paid by our infrastructure sales tax money. It's not coming directly from our budget. And also on Easy Street in your district as well. Another water control culvert. And also I see Crystal in the back of the room on 9D1 this evening. We'll go to that. It is about the non-congregate shelters, and we all know that they're a critical step in addressing homelessness with the dignity and compassion that they deserve. And I know that this has been long time coming. I know you're excited. I was glad to hear that Representative Trabolsi came up with some money for you as well. So I think you're getting a great start, and I know that this started with Kathy, and you've carried the torch, so congratulations. And it's very important for people to know that this is coming from our ARP money,
Yes.
the American Rescue Funds. It's not coming from our budget per se that we do year to year. So Crystal, thank you for all that you do.
anyone, anything else? All right. Then if not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, going right into our first public hearing. And I believe, yes, Jean is doing that for us. Good evening.
Good evening, Commissioners. Jean Stacio, Assistant County Attorney. This is an ordinance to amend St. Lucie County Code, Chapter 32, Public Property, Article 4, Public Conduct. The ordinance amends Section 32-90, renaming the section from overnight camping to public camping and sleeping. It conforms the code to Florida statute, Section 125.0231, and it provides exclusions for county-designated camping and RV sites. Next, the ordinance amends Section 32-97, group functions, and 32-98, permits of Article 4, relating to group functions and related permits for private events to be held on county property. The ordinance outlines the permitting process and delegates the authority to the Parks and Rec Director to issue permits for group functions to be held on county property. The ordinance also creates Section 32-103 titled Fairgrounds. This section defines the location of the fairgrounds, establishes limitations on use, establishes a permit application process, and delegates the authority to the Tourism Director to issue permits for events to be held at the fairgrounds. The ordinance also provides for severability, filing with the state, an effective date, and codification. Staff recommends approval.
All right. Any immediate questions from the board? If not, I'll open this up to the public. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the board on this item? Seeing no movement, I'll close public comment.
Madam Chair, I just have a question, because I looked at this, and the attorney and I had a conversation about this. In reading this the way that it was put on the agenda, and this is two different sections, it's Article 4, but it's Section 3290 and 3297. We know how our residents think, and this was confusing to me, so I know it's confusing to them, because you go from sleeping, which we knew DeSantis did that, passed that bill,
Right.
and then we go straight into the authority of parks and the county. Those two don't go hand in hand together. So to not create more work for the legal department, I've asked if, starting with delegate authority to the Parks and Rec, if that could come down and be a paragraph all of its own, so that when our residents go to look at this, because we have those at home that follow this, it separates the two, and it doesn't look like we're trying to do something, because we're conglomerating it all together in one thing. It is two separate sections, so I feel that there should be a space, and it should be two separate paragraphs.
Got it. I don't have a problem with that at all. Does anyone else?
No,
Any
ma'am.
issues? Okay. Well, then would you like to do the motion?
Well, I need to confirm, we had conversations that Mr., is you here by yourself?
we have,
Is Mr. McIntyre?
we have Ms.
Catherine?
Alvieri.
I mean, can that be done, Catherine? Can we just put a space in between so they're separated to show the two different sections?
Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri, if you're talking about in the title, yes, we can just, if that's the motion, we'll put a space in the title of the ordinance.
All right, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve with that change.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, going right into, thank you, Jean. Planning and Development. We have our 2098 Johnston Road PUD. Good evening, Thad, Corey. Good evening.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, for the record, Thad Crow, Senior Planner, Planning Development Services Department. The item before you tonight is 2098 Johnston Road PUD Plan Unit Development. It is a quasi-judicial item. Public notice requirements were met essentially through posting of the property, mailer, courtesy mailer to residents within 500 feet, and also a fuzzy ad. The aerial map shows the location of the property. It is east of Johnston Road with access from that street, north of Angle Road, as you can see, just east of Interstate 95. In a relatively undeveloped area that has some fairly intensive land use categories and zoning, but is in an area, period of transition, you might say, between rural and suburban character. Future land use map shows it is on the southern fringe of the towns, villages, and countryside land use category, which comprises a wide range of activities, but is oriented toward development in the form of hamlets, villages, towns, kind of old-fashioned land use. To the south, outside of the TBC area, is basically RS, residential suburban, 2 units per acre, mixed use, other categories. And this shows the current zoning. This property has Ag 1 and AR 1 zoning. You can see that's a little predominant in a lot of undeveloped properties around here as they slowly transition to more intensive uses due to that land use that allows higher density uses. So we like to prepare a context map, which kind of helps us to get a feel for the area and not only what it's like now, but what is happening there. This is an area where we've seen a lot of development activity. This project, of course, and then to the southeast, Pineapple Grove, 404 units has been approved. density of 2 units per acre, similar to this project. And then to the southwest, the Turnpike, the Serenoa project, formerly Ryan Homes, 319 single-family units with a density of 2.8 units per acre. The Morningside PUD is to the south. That's been around a little longer, 567 units and an average density of 3.7 units per acre. Eagle Bend PUD is to the east, a little higher density there, 1,700 plus units and 4.4 units per acre. So this gives you a feel of some of the recently approved or reviewed projects that have come before you. This is the property from Johnston Road. And then the bottom photo is the property from Angle Road looking across the canal. So the site plan is basically a single street with 3 cul-de-sacs emanating from it. You can see at the upper left, there's about 3 acres of recreation on either side of the entrance road. The open space from the project exceeds the required 35%. It's right at 36%. You can see the green, that is an off-street trail, which provides for walking opportunities for residents. The street rights-of-way are 50 feet in width with a 10-foot easement on the side for utilities. There are 6-foot wide sidewalks on both sides of the street, and I think that extra 1 foot is important. I think that that 6-foot sidewalk provides a comfortable walking path where people can pass each other and not have to step off the sidewalk sometimes. Looking at that the western, which is up, boundary there, working from the property lines of the adjacent residences, there's a 35-foot wide drainage easement, followed by a 25-foot wide landscape buffer along that west property line. Other buffers on the property are 15 feet wide. And we'll look at this in a little bit, but what the site design does is it uses the ponds and the drainage easement and the buffer is kind of in tandem to create more space and buffering for the residents to the west, the existing residents to the west along Johnston Road. Lots, 46 80-foot by 130-foot lots, and 36 70 by 130-foot lots. So these lots are a little bigger than some of the projects you've seen in the vicinity lately. Looking at compatibility, there is along Johnson Road, the lots are bigger per se, between about 1 acre and 5 acres, basically, with an average lot size around 2 acres for these properties. You can kind of get a sense of the character of the area with large yards and homes on spacious properties. And in terms of the buffers, we've talked about the buffers already, but I'll skip over that. This is a view of the standard 15-foot wide buffer, which it consists of canopy trees spaced 30 feet apart, a hedge, continuous hedge. And this is the schematic that kind of shows a cross-section of the from west to east. On the left-hand side, you see the adjacent single-family homes on Johnston Road. Moving to the right, you see a 20-foot drainage easement, which has now been widened to 35 feet in some places. And then moving on to the right, again, you see the landscape buffer of 25 feet with the walking path, the shade trees spaced 30 feet apart, continuous hedge. And then continuing to the east, there is a 20-foot maintenance easement for the ponds, where the ponds are existing. And then you move into the littoral plantings and then the pond itself, and again, another maintenance easement. When you add all these together, several hundred feet of space between the residents along Johnston Road and these homes. So in terms of transportation impacts, the traffic impact report projected about 841 trips. This is 62 AM peak hour trips and 82 PM peak hour trips. Johnston Road is a paved roadway, but it is substandard in terms of roadway width and during the neighborhood meeting, we heard reports from the residents that there are some street flooding problems that occur regularly. And I'll use this word relatively. It's important because I know that we look at things in terms of DOT's level of service handbook, and that tends to be very, doesn't look at nuances, put it that way. But in 2002, this road carried about 2,500 daily trips, and that is a level of service B, which is a fairly good operational functioning. 2/3 of this traffic heads south to Fort Pierce via Angle Road. The TIR determined that at least strictly looking at what they call warrants for turn lanes, turn lanes were not warranted. The project entrance intersection is projected to operate acceptably with all movements, operating under capacity. So talking about the rezoning criteria, what we look at to evaluate proposals like this, the project density is set by the TVC land use of up to 2 units per acre. That is a maximum. It is in the urban service area, so it would be served by central water and sewer. Recreational amenities include the parks that we briefly talked about and the off-road trail. So I think the qualifier on the traffic is that the TIR indicated that in terms of how we evaluate or how the transportation is evaluated, it will function. But there is an addition of about 841 trips in those AM and PM peak hour trips, so there will be an impact on the residents. I think that's something that they will definitely be impacted by. I think that there is a certain amount of discretion on your part to explore the possibility of turn lanes if that's something that works. And of course, more detailed traffic information would be handled at the final site plan stage, but any direction from you, we would certainly follow. So there was a neighborhood meeting. The applicant has been very good about working with the neighbors and listening to their concerns at that neighborhood meeting in February 2205. It wasn't 2205. The following concerns were raised: drainage and flooding, and these are kind of in priority of the concern. Drainage was the number one concern. There's a flooding issue there. There is a concern about deficient infrastructure, again, mostly Johnston Road, and the concerns about incompatibility of what are smaller lots compared to these 1 to 5 acre lots. There were concerns about environmental and noise. I think you've heard about the illegal partying activities to the east of this property. There were some concerns that there might have been some ag dumping on the property, and of course the impact on the rural character of the Johnston Road area. At the Planning and Zoning Commission, 4 property owners spoke to the commission and again concerned about traffic on Johnston Road, lot size, small lot sizes, flooding problems. Talked about the agricultural waste, the concert venue, and the potential noise. At that time, the commission, a motion was made to approve with our recommended conditions along with the following additions: to widen the western buffer to 40 feet and plan it more intensely, to provide a school bus stop that's acceptable to the school district, to investigate the alleged environmental dumping, and to provide right and left turn lanes from Johnston Road. Due to one of the members declaring a conflict of interest, what's the right word? Recused himself because he had some, associations with the applicant. So it was a tie vote essentially, which failed. 2 votes, and each vote failed. So the motion was then made to deny, and it passed 4-2. However, no findings were presented with that denial. So staff recommends approval of the PUD with the following conditions. I'm going to try to run through these quickly. Some of these are kind of nuts and bolts, everyday things that you see. For example, the tree survey, the mitigation plan, ERD. Required that they get a vegetation removal permit. There's not a lot of trees on the site, except in some of the boundaries. ERD also requires a listed species survey prior to the development commencing. And other ERD conditions are before any development commences, the applicant shall provide tree mitigation, basically, for any trees that are removed. And all the invasive plants shall be eradicated from the site prior to a CO, issuances of CO. From the Planning and Development Services Department, we wanted to see a note on the site plan that said if a fence is utilized in that western buffer, an additional hedge shall be planted on the other side of it. And we also are recommending additional understory trees other than those canopy trees spaced 30 feet apart, which will help achieve what we call the closed forest effect, which makes it more opaque and hard to see from the Johnston Road properties. So we also wanted number 7 here, the east-west road that dead ends at Canal Number 1 Road should be labeled a future vehicle connection point and have a turnaround. And one of those common areas ending at the east property boundary similarly should be labeled a future vehicular connection. And this is an important one for the drainage concerns, is the final site plan shall address the historic drainage flow from the west to the east from those Johnston Road properties and accept that stormwater and mitigate direct impacts caused by this development design. Property acquisitions within 90 days of site plan approval, the land shall be conveyed along North Canal Avenue and Johnston Road in order to help those streets that get sufficient right-of-way to meet our code. Public Works Department, site development permit required, subdivision improvement agreement and bonding required to make sure the improvements are accomplished. And again, the road improvement agreement for any permanent improvements, including turn lanes, would also require bonding and an agreement. So, Madam Chair, that is the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. Mr. Benton is here as well.
Thank you, Thad. Any immediate questions from the board? All right, does the applicant is here, do they have a presentation?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the County Commission. My name is Leslie Olson. I'm principal with District Planning Group, representing 2098 Johnston Road for you here tonight. We're excited about this project. We have worked hard to ensure that we are following the board's direction of larger lots and being careful about transitions. And so we're looking forward to talking with you about this evening. Before we get started, and I'm going to just click right on by these maps that you've already seen. Before we get started, I'd like Lee Dobbins with Dean Mead to come up and talk a little bit about the future land use and the density, and I'll let him talk about that for a moment. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Leslie. For the record, Lee Dobbins with the Dean Mead Law Firm here in Fort Pierce. Just for the record, I also want to disclose that I and other members of the team met with each of you county commissioners ahead of the meeting. So just a couple of items, and this will be review for some of you. Just want to make clear that the current future land use of the property is TVC. This is part of the TVC, and there are certain as with any land use category, there are certain zonings that are allowed within that land use category and certain ones that are not. Currently, this property has an AR1 zoning for part of the property and AG1 for part of the property. Neither of those zonings are allowed within the TVC land use. You see there an excerpt from the comp plan, which is the matrix that shows the allowed uses, and the X's are the allowed uses. We can't do, we cannot do a by right under the current zoning. A rezoning to PUD is what's required in order to develop a residential development on the property, because that is what the TVC land use calls for. And so we are bringing forward this zoning change, which will bring the property into compliance with one of the allowed zonings within the TVC. And then I'm going to try to go to the next slide and fail completely. There we go. Okay. Also, this is one of the maps from the TVC section of the comprehensive plan, and this map shows the allowed densities within the TVC. This map came about because at the time when the TVC was being created, a number of the landowners had concerns about losing their allowed densities under the TVC. There was a lot of uncertainty in terms of how the TVC would be implemented, and they did not want to lose their allowed densities. And so this map shows those densities, and there's a notation down in the corner. It says the transferable development value map, which is what this is, reflects the underlying densities and intensities established by the pre-existing future land use map. Properties shall not have the underlying potential densities or intensities limited by the TVC element. And that language is repeated within the text of the TVC. So this property lies within the area shown on the map as 2 dwelling units per acre. So it's the understanding of the property owners and consistent with this map that 2 dwelling units per acre would be the allowed density within this area. Of course, TVC does allow for higher densities if you aggregate more property, and then you can do a town or a village and do higher densities, but that is not what this applicant is trying to do. They are just trying to stay consistent with this map and do a project which is 2 dwelling units per acre. So now Ms. Olson will continue with the presentation to show you elements of the PUD plan that's before you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. So one of the things that came up at the planning board, and I just want to address really quickly, because one of the planning board members mentioned that they'd really rather us just develop under Ag 1 and do 1 unit per acre and not rezone. And so that's why we talked a little bit about why it's required under the existing regulations. But also it's important to note that in both AR1 and Ag 1, which is where this is located, you can do a guest house on a property. And so while you could theoretically, if this weren't in the TVC, do a straight subdivision of 1 unit per acre, you could still end up with 2 units per property, which gets you to your 2 units per acre. So there's not much of a change here being proposed. So, okay, here's the site plan. So the highlights are that we're trying to reflect those larger lot sizes in keeping with the commissioner goals. We have a lot of landscape buffers. We did before we got to the planning board, and we have increased landscape buffers since then to be responsive to those concerns of both the neighbors and the planning board. Preserving that drainage flow that comes over from the western neighbors onto this site. And then each home offers either a direct view or a direct connection to this substantial open space. So we did host that neighborhood meeting, concerns about all those things that Thad mentioned, and I'd just like to put on the record we're in agreement with staff presentation. We're going to want to talk a little bit about the conditions of approval, but we really appreciate the work that they've done with us and on this. And so one of the things that came up was notifying us that there is existing historical drainage that comes from their property onto this property. And so we've made that adjustment. As you can see in that 35-foot easement, we're going to take all of that water that already drains off of there. Then the design features, something that we're really happy with here is we're not just going with, the code minimums and calling it a PUD. We're proposing something substantially different than what you would get with a straight zoning. The distance, as Thad alluded to, between the property lines and the homes that we are creating here, all of which face their side yards face the backyards. It's not backyard to backyard. But even then, it's between 100 feet in the littoral areas and 300 feet. And that's just to the property lines. We've got an exhibit a little bit later to show you how far the structures are apart from each other. So we came up with this site plan because we really wanted to balance the existing character of this currently rural area with the allowable density. And so we came up with 82 single-family homes on larger than what you're typically seeing for subdivision lots. That the proposed lots will have that buffer that we've been highlighting. The landscape features that really highlight the rural character, and something that aligns with the TVC. You'll notice here, I'll just speak to this quickly. You'll see here that where all of those, I don't think you can, no, okay. Where all of those cul-de-sacs are, where the two central ones are, you'll see a green space to the east of it. Well, here it looks south, but it's east. And those are not counted in our open space, but they are preserved as little generalized open areas in case there is a desire on the part of this developer to connect to something that might eventually develop to the east. So we are planning ahead, and we're thinking about connectivity, which is another one of those fundamental TVC elements. Here on this, you will also see that we have called out the distance from the houses that currently exist to each of the houses that they're closest to. Now, there is one that is 131 feet away from a house, and that's the closest one. And that's that canal-facing house on the north there. Most of these, however, are between 400 and 600 feet away from each other, and that's intentional. We wanted to give folks who have been there for such a long time their space. We really thought carefully about how to make the recreation in open space work. It's easy to throw in, a few amenities and a tot lot and call it good. But since this is a small subdivision, we didn't want to saddle these future homeowners with big HOA fees to pay for amenities. And yet we wanted to create community building spaces. So that dark green square that you see that's surrounded by that wide path and lots of trees, we actually sized that so it would be the right size for a number of different team sports. Whether somebody wants to pull out their badminton set from the garage, or play a game of pickup soccer or whatever, this is actually sized for that kind of activity among residents. We also have a playground and lots of walking paths. I'm going to go back one. You'll see, and Thad really illustrated this really nicely, you'll see that each one of those cul-de-sacs is now attached from the cul-de-sac back to the walking path. It creates a lot of different points of connection and really creates a nice diverse way to walk the neighborhood and get some exercise in, and also get back home quickly if you need to. So a lot of good passive/active recreation options. And that's actually something we also added since the planning board. We heard Thad, he suggested that we do that, so we made that change as well. Since the planning board meeting, we have enhanced that community connectivity that I talked about. We've expanded the littoral planting. So we've added some cypress trees in there to create some more height. We will have additional trees. So our initial plan proposed one tree for every 30 feet in that landscape buffer adjacent to our western neighbors. Now we're at one for every 20. So those are really going to grow into each other and turn into a dense canopy. Then let's let's see. So we think it's consistent with the county's long-range goals. We have tried hard to be responsive to the neighbor input to preserve that historic drainage pattern and the desire for more buffering, robust landscaping, large lots, most of which are 80 feet in width, and offers a lot of high-quality single-family housing that we really need. So, do you have questions for me? And I'd like to reserve some time to talk about the conditions of approval.
Absolutely. Questions at this time? No? Okay. Go right ahead then. No questions at this time.
All right. Pat, can you pull up condition number 8? I think maybe our emails may have crossed in the night. So, condition number 8 talks about that potential traffic connection to the east. And we're fine with that, obviously, because we put it on the plan. But we wanted to put in a little bit of nuance there. Lee?
Yes, actually, I see our proposed language up there. So a couple of concerns with that. We don't have a problem with the concept of a vehicular connection to the east. However, we would not want to see that become the future sole entrance to a project to the east that we don't know what it is. If that were the case, it would basically be a taking, and you're asking for all the traffic for a development to east to get funneled through our project. You know, what if a commercial project went in there? What if a townhome project went in there? You could funnel a lot of traffic, and it was commercial, potentially truck traffic in a worst case scenario, going through the middle of this development, which would be detrimental and unfair to the residents of it who pay for the upkeep of the roads. That said, no problem with the connection, but how you handle it often with commercial properties is you require a connection to the neighboring property, but you require that there be a cross-access easement between the property owners. And typically those cross-access easements deal with things like maintenance of the roads. So the project to the east would be required to share in road maintenance. So that was one component of the language that we were suggesting. The other part of it is that it not be the main entrance for whatever went to the east, that it could be a connection to it, but not the main entrance for what went to the east. This project is actually being required to give, I think it's 50 feet along the north property line up by the canal. The reason being for a potential road connection that could go through there someday, and it would be appropriate for the property to the east to have its own main entrance. And so that was part of what our language was. So we would not want through our property to be the main entrance unless this property was purchased by the same property owner and they made this a phase 2. That would be an exception to it. So the language we were proposing was the vehicular connection, 1, would not be the primary entrance to a future development east of 2098 Johnson Road, PUD, unless such property to the east is acquired by the owner of the 2098 Johnson Road PUD and developed as a future phase. And 2, could only be developed as a vehicular connection if the owners of the 2 properties enter into a cross-access agreement. So that's the amendment that we are requesting with respect to that number 8. And available if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All set? Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the public for public comment on this item. Anyone wishing to address the board, please feel free to come up to the podium at this time. Good evening.
Name is Nathan Wyatt, 2394 Johnson Road. Sorry
Madam
if I
Chair.
get emotional, but
Can we spell your last name, please?
WYATT,
Thank you.
60-year resident of St. Lucie County, 52 of which have been at 2394 Johnson Road. My father had to move there because he loves animals We had a lot of animals back in fact, we used to live at the village, and the mayor came and said, you can't have your animals. So he had to find agricultural land. He got the agriculture land and content all these years. So my point is, a PUD is the mentality of the people coming in to live in a PUD is not the same as someone that owns animals, that loves agriculture. They're not gonna, they're gonna be complaining, and then for me to be a good neighbor, I'm gonna have to give up a lot of my rights and my things I enjoy just so I can be a good neighbor. As soon as they start complaining about the dogs barking or the chickens crowing, or, you know, I'll have to worry about that. They'll be, you know, it's not the right place. It's, we moved out there to be in agriculture. If they want to build 4 houses on an acre, as long as the people are there, raise goats, raise chickens, they can do what they want. I'd be happy. But for them to come out there and start complaining about something that we left from to get away from, I could go on. As soon as the sign went up, you know, vacant land for sale, my heart sunk. I was like, here we go. But anyway, like I said, 3 minutes, it's not enough time for me to go into detail. But it will break my heart if you change this.
Good evening. My name is Daryl Crum. I live at 2280 Johnston Road. There's 3 of us here that have lived in that area for pretty much all of our lives, right there on Johnston Road. We've seen the changes. We know it comes. It's progress, they say. I was talking to Mr. Wyatt earlier in the week, and he said, you know what? We need to have a moment of silence at that meeting for the death of St. Lucie County. So at this time, I want to take a moment of silence for you to think about what you're doing to our county by building more houses. Right now, Angle Road and Rock Road, 400 homes, I believe 30-foot wide lots. That's my family's old grove there. They backfilled the ponds that was there that I fished out of. My concern about this is the entrance. The entrance is next to C25 Canal Bridge. Where are we going to put a bus stop? The buses aren't going in their subdivision, trust me. Johnston Road, if I understand it correctly, will be 4-lane, but when? Now we have all this traffic. Right now it's a shortcut for the people who don't want to get on Kings Highway. Anybody that travels Kings Highway knows they do not want to go through the Angle Road intersection. So now you want to add 82 more homes. They said something about utilities. I'd like to know, are they having city sewer and water? Is this more septic tanks? The drainage is very important. 2 years after we, at 2133 Johnston Road, we refurbished my son's home. We had a bad rainstorm. He had 6 inches of water in his home, which is adjacent to this. But I'm very concerned about the entrance point of this and the future 50 feet on the north end of the property. Basically, they're saying that's going to be the entrance. The next thing you know, you county people are going to be buying Mr. Wyatt's longtime family out for access to that property. L20 is not a road. And closing, since I got 6 seconds left, I'll sell these people a beautiful 26 acres with an R4 residential about 2.5 miles down the road and save them some trouble. Bye.
Anyone else wishing to address? Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jimmy Favorite, live at 2120 Johnston Road. The landscape buffer is a concern to me because if you've got 25 feet and you've got a 6-foot walking path, that only leaves you 19 feet. Not a lot of planning can be done for any kind of a sound barrier in 19 feet. The other thing is the traffic on that road. We all know, or the residents know, what it's like to live out there. The road is terrible once you get past Meadowwood. Half the road floods, you got potholes in the road, you got 290-degree sharp turns, and you got an S-turn that's barely wide enough for 2 vehicles to go through. If you got a pickup truck with any kind of trailer on it, it takes both lanes to maneuver that road. And of course, the school bus stop. We know it's going to be on Johnson Road. There's no ifs, buts, ands about that. And being as close to that bridge and that intersection, with all the development that's going on out there, you're going to have enough backup, depending on the time of day, to where you're going to block the intersection at Angle Road and Angle Road and Johnson. And then the last thing I'll touch on is the U.S. Postal Service only runs one direction out there. So all of us living on the east side of the road, or when you get down around the first turn where the winery's at, we all have to cross that road just to get to our mail. The more traffic on that road, the more dangerous it becomes for us. So please take that in mind when considering this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin Wyatt. I live at 2394 Johnston Road. My husband spoke earlier, but the ironic part, I thought the meeting started with the gentleman talking about the dirt road that he lives on. That is exactly what we face. We live on the L20 Canal Road, and it is a canal road. It is not a county road. They grade it all the time. We ask them and beg them not to grade it because it causes so much dust. The traffic is horrendous out there already, going up and down the dirt road, also going up and down Johnston Road. So I don't know where all these cars are going to go. My question is, where you have, it looks like an emergency exit that's going out on the L20 road, is that going to be accessed by the other people that live there as well? Because then you're just creating more traffic on a road that is not a road, it's a canal road. As I said earlier, AR1 and AG1 is not consistent with this area. I implore you all to drive out and look at this area. It's beautiful homes, it's huge acreage, and you want to put 80-something homes out there in an area that is not conducive to that area. So I thank you for your time, and I hope that you strongly consider this.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board on this matter?
My name is Matthew Wyatt, live at 2392 Johnson Road. Parents are right behind me. I was born and raised out there, and I have a daughter of my own, 3 years old now. The traffic, like my mother dressed on the canal road, is horrendous. I don't even let her outside during the evening hours during traffic time because they just fly up and down the road, no regard to anyone out there, animals, etc. On your plot plan, the way it looks gorgeous on paper. Everything looks good and sounds good on paper. If you drive down there and you look at the lot, you can't visualize that many homes on it. It's insane in my opinion. But like I said, just because it sounds good and looks good on paper, until you put it there and go, oh wow, we messed up. This doesn't fit the community. And on top of that, on Angle, You already have a giant subdivision going in as of now. They already broke dirt on it. Why don't we let that plan out and let those homes fill up first before we go seeking more future residential use? That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rose Montgomery. I'm at 2376 Johnston Road. My house was featured on the map here. My home is on 4.5 acres, gated, lighted, fenced, landscaped, and it's about almost approximately 4,000 square feet. It is not conducive with this area. Our area, our neighbors, as they all were talking about, absolutely love our neighbors. Good people, honest people, hardworking people. They take care of their properties. They work hard. It takes a lot of work to take care of acreage, which is what we want. A planned unit development of this size, exactly like this young man just said, it is a narrow strip. It is not wide. My property is wider than this to put 82 homes on. It's too many. It's way too much. It needs to be brought down into acreage like estate homes. Let's make it the Millionaires Road, okay? Put $1 million homes in this area. We have the trees. We have the beauty. This is a cow pasture with trees on our side and the other side. No other trees. I looked up some of your campaign promises on these things. Someone mentioned, let's see, Commissioner Fowler, plan for responsible, sustainable growth by investing in infrastructure. We don't have any infrastructure for this project. We have car crashes that are coming, no doubt. Children to be hurt over this. We have over 3,000 homes online within a 1 mile radius of this PUD here, with no, again, fund traffic reducing projects. This is increasing the projects. Traffic that we already have way too much of on the street that do not obey the traffic signs. Mr. Clasby, in yours, you carefully will evaluate new developments projects to ensure they do not outpace our infrastructure capabilities. Great. We all agree. We love the things that you wrote. This is why you're sitting in these seats. We depend on you. We trust you. We want you to do the right thing by us. Our infrastructure must be able to keep up with the growth and meet the needs of the community without raising taxes. Excellent. Great writing. Improving infrastructure is vital not only for the accommodation growth, but also for enhancing the quality of life for our current residents and prioritizing infrastructure projects that directly benefit our existing community, focusing on necessary upgrades to roads and other public facilities. Absolutely agree. Ms. Lowry, I had the pleasure of meeting you when you were running. It was a pleasure. Your goals were to include fighting for lower millage rates and for enforcing smart growth and development. Again, smart growth and development, not to sandwich in 82 homes and, for goodness sake, the sidewalk in my backyard. No. My time is up, I guess. Do I have another second?
I'll give you another minute. Go for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm passionate.
I can feel it.
It's Sicilian blood. Okay. Commissioner Townsend, you're awesome. I love you to death. I've spoken with you, and you have come out at 2 o'clock in the morning to get rid of 500 people. For 10 years, we have fought this. 10 years, like my husband had mentioned. And we thank you. You can call on her. She will be there. She is definitely hardworking, dependable, honest, and there is no buying this Commissioner Townsend. And then, Mr. Lee, you don't want to see any concrete jungles. We don't either. That's why we're here. Concrete jungle. Sidewalks, buildings, 82 homes. This is not trees. This is not land. This is not peace and quiet. This doesn't belong. It's like one of these things is not like the other. If y'all remember Sesame Street, it doesn't. And then in closing, I just have to say that we did have a meeting to make a formal complaint from our last meeting on Mr. Lowndes. Because Mr. Lowndes, my husband turned, he told him to sit down, you SOB, on tape. for the internet, and friends of ours told us, so we had to watch it. And I know there's no obscenities, and I agree, but can you please maybe have the farmer go out to pasture now, because we have never gotten an apology, and I am just very disappointed to be talked to as a citizen, and my husband, with all of his law enforcement and good-natured person that he is, to be told that. And I can give you the date stamp. I can look it up and tell you when it was said, and it's on there. He stood up. Sit down. You SOB. That's not what we want. Because you people look like fine people, and I appreciate your time, the extra time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Is there any other public comment?
I need to reintroduce myself.
If you would, please. Just
Alan Montgomery, 2376 Johnston Road. All right, here we go. The United States, the state of Florida, and St. Lucie County are organized as a limited constitutional republic. Okay, so we all have a basic civics lesson. That means you all are elected to represent us, to do our bidding, basically, but with restraint. Obviously, you have minds of your own, but that's what this is about. So we're asking you, united, no. This project is characterized in my mind deceptive, subterfuge, non-transparent. I mean, even your own public hearing notices. One says the applicant is Alfredo somebody and Damian Mondon Martinez, and the other place it says it's Collins Development and something that, I don't know who it is. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. As a former assistant city manager, I know a little bit about this process, and I'm very disappointed in it because it was not, it didn't happen in the way it should, obviously. I'm very concerned about the traffic. Traffic out there, the TIR report, sorry at that. They didn't do a good job, my friend. The traffic out there is horrendous. Within the last 2 weeks, I've almost been hit twice head on by cars passing. I can't count the number of cars that leave Angle Road and going north, and by the time they hit my house, they're 80 miles an hour. Okay? That's not unusual. Ask anybody here. So, the fact that they're going to have this bus stop or whatever, is again, I know you think I was a traffic investigator too, okay? There will be blood there if we don't do something about that turn lane and entrances and that type of thing. There will be blood there, I can guarantee you. Already had a head-on crash in front of my house, 10:30 on Saturday morning. Okay, thank God nobody was killed, but just by the grace of God. So this area is overrun. The TIR didn't take into account the Angle Road and Kings Highway intersection, which I just went there the other day. I went south, and there where the new intersection is at Orange, 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, there were 35 vehicles in the queue to turn east on Orange. That's with the new construction. Not even talking about what we're looking at down at the other end. I know you know how long it takes construction. That intersection won't be improved for 10 years probably. So I would appreciate with all these concerns if you would entertain a motion to table this development until we get a little more clarity. We have a little bit more things to go on. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board on this item? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Paula Halupa. I live at 2455 Johnston Road. I'm a biologist. My husband and I own 3 acres, and we have enjoyed our property for 25 years. We are in strong opposition of this development. It doesn't fit. It's not right. It's going to impact our lives, diminish our property value, negatively impact the environment and wildlife, which we love and respect. It's going away, and it doesn't have to go this way. I have many concerns and issues about this. First, inadequate notice and notification. Okay, only notifying residents within 500 feet is not acceptable. I'm not supposed to curse, so I won't. Our property is 850 feet from the corner of where the proposed development is going to go in. This is a huge development, huge. It will impact everyone on Johnston Road, L20, and Angle Road within 1 mile radius, which was in your staff report. 1 mile, you looked 1 mile. Well, apparently you didn't care enough, not the applicant, not the county, not anyone, to invite people to the neighborhood meetings and your other meetings. I only found out about it because the Wyatts, when I was riding my bike, told me about it, because I never travel south and I didn't see the big yellow sign. Okay, so the report doesn't capture nearly the seriousness of how it's going to impact everybody who lives out there and the rural character of that. It doesn't fit. Information, my next issue is information on the public portal and the staff report. It's deficient, it's conflicting, it's erroneous, and it's often without basis. For example, the address is listed as different addresses. The staff report claims there's not going to be any adverse impact to the neighboring property values. It says it's not going to harm the public interest. This is absolutely no basis for these statements. There is no basis whatsoever. Residents who value the rural character do not think it's a good project. They don't think it's compatible with their way of life or their surroundings. If approved, it's going to affect the alternatives to the airport connector routes, which will be devastating to any property it touches or comes close to. And everybody wants to gloss over that. The staff report indicates that planning and zoning recommended denial. So why are we even talking about this? This makes zero sense. Somebody from the county should really explain this. Okay, the traffic analysis. The traffic impact analysis lacks detail, is based on questionable and faulty assumptions. For example, the number of trips expected and when they would occur. How convenient for the traffic report to find the low traffic won't occur during the peak volume time, so they won't have to do extra turning lanes. How convenient is that? There is no basis for this statement. It is counterintuitive for the people to only want to go south into Fort Pierce. Most of my doctors and all of my errands, I go north. I imagine all the people who are there will go in various directions. So to pretend like they're going to go south only and only that way is ridiculous. The county has allowed Johnston Road to be a cutoff road where drivers do not respect 40-mile-an-hour speed limits. Wildlife frequently killed. You guys know it. The county is well aware of this. I reported a dead sandhill crane recently outside my house, and the deputy says, "Oh, another one. Oh, another one," to the sandhill cranes. Sandhill crane signs went up. I appreciate the county doing that, but people ignore them. Why does the county think that increasing traffic will not harm the residents or the wildlife? If the county is recommending additional access to the north and the east, then it's inviting additional traffic and additional urban sprawl. And this is urban sprawl. At a minimum, the county should demand a legitimate traffic analysis, make it available to the public, have it peer reviewed by somebody independent who knows what they're looking at, a qualified reviewer before anything proceeds. And finally, the environmental assessment and wetlands is my last point. Okay, aerial photography shows ponds, ditches, standing water in the pastures. I only have one more point.
Go ahead and finish, ma'am.
Thank you. The applicant claims no listed animal species occur on the site. No listed animals will be known to nest or forage on the site. This is incorrect. Caracaras are on Johnston Road, federally listed species. They use the pastures, they use the cabbage palms. They might be using the cabbage palms on the site. They forage in pastures. Wood storks use ditches. There's ditches on the property. Is anyone going to do a survey really before we just go down the path of approval? No. The applicant probably needs a permit from the Fish and Wildlife Service under Section 7 or Section 10 of the ESA. Okay, proceeding without a permit when you're taking habitat from endangered species is a violation of the ESA. In which part, if the county is going to approve it, I assume they could be liable also, in addition to the property owners and the applicants being liable. So I recommend also a qualified biologist do a real survey for wildlife. And I implore everybody to listen to everybody who spoke here tonight, who cares about St. Lucie County and doesn't want to see it turned into garbage. So the proposed development should be denied. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Denise Averill. I live at 2453 Johnston Road. I am the newbie on the neighborhood. I've been there for 10 years. It's a wonderful street. It's a wonderful community. We live in an area that people drive by and go, wow, I'd like to live there. This development will make a big difference for us, for traffic. Right now, when I first moved here 10 years ago, I could step out onto my street to grab my garbage can and not get hit by a car. Now my street is very, very busy without having a development that I have to wait for the traffic to go by before I can put my garbage out. I like my rural area. I don't want to see this development. It's not the right place for it. If you have a chance, please drive down our street and see what a wonderful place it is. We have chickens, we have dogs, we have cats, we have all kinds of wildlife that we love to keep. That won't be there anymore. I beg you to please, please look this over with every site that you can have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, anyone else wishing to address the board? Seeing no movement, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Before we start with questions and comments, so we don't get lost in this, this is a quasi-judicial item. Commissioner Townsend, start with you.
Oh gosh, I've spoke to a lot of people.
I know, right?
I've spoke to multiple residents. I've spoke to the developers. I've spoke to Kara and Leslie, and I have spoke to Corey and Ben.
Commissioner Lee.
Staff and applicant.
I am Ben and Corey, applicant, Lee Dobbins, Leslie Olson, Carol Wood. Commissioner Lowry?
Same. District Planning Group, staff, applicant, and Lee Dobbins.
I've spoke with staff, the applicant, and people from the public.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, I'll bring it back to the board. Commissioner Townsend, do you want to start with this being in your...
You're looking at me.
Yeah, because I know you're ready and prepared. You were taking notes like me.
I'm not going to say I'm ready and prepared. I might be upsetting some people tonight. First, I want to begin with, there's questions that they asked, so I think it's only fair that that has clarity, okay? So the first one's very easy. Amy Griffin, can you come to the front, please? And we're having Amy too. I didn't see you back there. I would like for you to address about the environmental and the endangered species on the property, please.
All right, well, I'll start since you asked me. Amy Griffin, Environmental Resources Director for St. Lucie County. I didn't personally review the plan. That's why you see Amy Cooper up here. She has the more intimate details.
Let her talk.
Okay.
Let her talk.
Well, I do want to say that, pretty much any green space that you impact in St. Lucie County or anywhere is going to have some impact. So the residents aren't wrong, but we have a set of rules and regulations that we have to abide by and that guide us in what we look at. And so environmental regulations staff, they look at things like what listed species are occupied on the site. We require an environmental impact report that requires certain listed species surveys depending on what maps show are in the area, perhaps a Caracara map in the nearby area, or if there's a indicator that it exists on site, like a cabbage pond that has a nest in it. But they can tell you what they actually found on this site, and we go by that.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, or good evening.
evening.
Amy Cooper, Environmental Regulations Division Manager. So, yes, what Amy Griffin was speaking about with the Environmental Impact Report, that is provided from a certified environmental specialist that's required by our code. So when they go out and do surveys, they're looking for illicit species and also for any kind of intact habitat, and nothing was found on site.
Yeah, this is Brian Ingram with Environmental Resources. Listed species surveys were provided with the environmental assessment here. No listed species were found. They'll be required to update those surveys prior to development. And obviously, if anything's found, the required permits are going to be pulled with the appropriate state and federal agencies.
Also, I wanted to provide further information with as far as wetlands, because I heard that those were mentioned as well. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to determine what a wetland is. That comes from state and federal agencies. So we can, see if one's been delineated, but we can't actually determine if one's on site.
Which I was going to bring up the wetlands next.
Yes.
And that's something that the state does have to come in. So that was one. Thank you very much. The next thing I want to point out is the Planning and Zoning Board. So the Planning and Zoning Board is our appointees and 2 at-large people. They do not make decisions. I will be honest with you, the majority of them that sit on that board have no real clue what they're doing. They're new, right? They're learning, but they're directed by staff, and they're an advisory board. And what they do is it gives staff the opportunity to bring it forward for that board to discuss it, for you to be heard, and that way you have another opportunity to go through everything with that board, and then it's brought to us where the final decision is made here. So I know that there's a lot of emphasis sometimes put on the Planning and Zoning Board, and it's important for everybody, I think, to understand that they're just an advisory board. If they approve or not approve, that's not always the way that this board's gonna say. So I think it's important for y'all to understand that. And I want to say I appreciate all of your passion tonight and everything that you said, and I don't think any of us sitting up here are going to disagree with anything that you said. We acknowledge, where you live and your piece of heaven. We acknowledge that. But I think, Leslie, can you come up here, please? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to address where the bus stop would go?
Yes, ma'am. So for the record, Leslie Olson, District Planning Group, representing the applicant. At this time, the school board has not told us where they want it to go, and so we are planning on handling that through the DRC process at final site plan. But we're happy to put it wherever they want it.
Okay. And I don't know, Corey, if you want to answer this, or if it would be Patrick or Dan, what is the estimation for Johnston Road being 4-laned?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Townsend, you can certainly invite the Public Works Director up, but in our foreseeable capital improvement schedule, Johnson Road is not identified for that type of expansion. So I don't think it's in the short or near term. Given the Transportation Planning Organization's most recent traffic counts identifying the current level of service as a level of service B, that suggests that the roadway can accommodate an increase of traffic volume. Now, the roadway itself, is absent shoulders, absent sidewalks, and streetlights for a significant portion of it. So in my mind, those are types of improvements that you would see on the shorter term horizon be targeted. Eventually, certain projects, you would see the need for turn lanes at their entrances, depending upon the traffic movements in and out of a community like we see at Meadowwood. Further to the north on Johnson Road, where we have the slated Indrio and I-95 planned town village, that's an area of Johnson Road that we would most likely see expanded to 4 lanes sooner than the section toward this petition site, which is toward the southern end of Johnson Road.
Thank you. Patrick, do you want to add anything to that, please? What is the time frame, if any?
Commissioner Townsend, Patrick Diane, Public Works Director. For the record, Corey very well summarized precisely what I was going to say, that Johnston Road, I don't believe it's in the 2045 long-range transportation plan needs plan for any sort of widening. The Transportation Planning Organization is currently reviewing the 2050 horizon year. I don't have a finality on that. It's in the process of looking at the data and the growth, but we don't predict that it would need to be widened in that horizon at this particular point in time. The county does not have any plans in our capital improvements project 5-year plan to widen Johnston Road.
Okay, and L20, is L20 a county road or is it a water district road?
Commissioner Townsend, it is belonging to the Fort Pierce Farms Water Control District. It is essentially a canal maintenance right-of-way. We do grade the road to provide for the ability of the residents that do use it as a cut-through, but the county does not have any right-of-way along that corridor.
And so this development cannot use the L20 road for any part of their subdivision because it doesn't qualify for them to have any road access, correct?
Yes, Commissioner Townsend, Madam Chair and Commissioners, once again, I believe there's a condition wherein the obligation to donate right-of-way along the northern frontage of the parcel would be required. However, there would still remain deficient roadway to connect to Johnston Road with county-owned right-of-way.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody's questions answered. Let's see. The airport road. So we know that the airport road is going to come out St. Lucie Boulevard and it's going to connect at Johnston. Do you want to reference that, please?
Yes, Commissioner. This board heard the results of the corridor analysis that was performed as a joint project between the TPO and St. Lucie County that tested various alternative routes to connect Kings Highway at Immokalee Road to the I-95 corridor. The preferred alignment was a serpentine path that would connect to a landing point somewhere north of the Canal 1, the Fort Pierce Farms Canal 1, through the unrecorded plat subdivision west of Johnston Road, and then make a curve that then connects into the existing western extension of Immokalee Road, following that right-of-way to connect to Kings Highway. This would all be north of the subject parcel.
Okay. And is there any plans for the S-curve on Johnston heading north to be straightened out to make it a safer access out onto Indrio Road in the future?
Commissioner Townsend, thank you for that question. We do have plans in our sales tax project list to look at bridging the pair of twin culverts that's at the Canal 1 and Canal 15 location that is just south of Indrio Road, and removing that reverse curve and straightening that road out is projected to occur within the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you. And this is in the urban service boundary, correct, Corey?
That is correct, Commissioner Townsend. It has been since the adoption in 1990.
From 1990. And within the urban service boundary, that includes utilities. So this development, utilities would be brought out there to it?
The Fort Pierce Utilities Authority is the projected service provider. It's in their territory, and the proposed development would extend both potable water lines and sewer lines to the development.
Okay. Were y'all taking notes? Did I miss any other questions?
No, you are good. Do you want to touch on the notification area and the fact that that's set by state, but now we've even expanded it?
That was brought up as well. Mm-hmm. So, Corey, do you want to explain that whenever there is something coming up, the residents within 500 feet, which we have changed to 1,000 feet, I believe that was after this was noticed, though, that if you are within that 500 foot, you receive the letter. If you're outside it, you wouldn't see it, so that the young lady that came up here can understand how that works.
Absolutely. Madam Chair, Commissioner Townsend, Staff's public notice for both public hearings before the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners included a display advertisement in the local newspaper, mailed notice to owners of property within 500 feet, and the applicant posted a yellow display sign on the premises that's visible from the adjacent right-of-way, pinpointing this evening's public hearing and the prior before the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Land Development Code has changed. The effective date was roughly the middle of July for new applications for a planned development such as this, that moving forward, those new applications would be required to host a neighborhood meeting, and the mailed notice for a petition within the urban service boundary would be a 1,000 feet inside the urban service boundary, larger outside of the urban service boundary. So as Commissioner Townsend stated, 1,000 feet. So that would apply to future projects. The neighborhood meeting that the applicant did hold back in February of this year, that's not a required neighborhood meeting for this petition because of its submission date, but that was a courtesy hosting that the applicant provided.
Thank you.
And it was relatively well attended.
Yeah, it was. It was a good crowd. So I just want to say a couple of things. It was pointed out, I don't know that y'all really understand this, but at 110 acres, 1 house per acre is 110 homes that could currently go there today with no zoning change. That's the code. And with a guest house, that's 220, but give or take, you take out for a road and the right-of-way and everything that's required, you're still looking at probably at least 100 houses that could go there. And the other thing with this is that this is in the TVC, this is Towns, Villages, and Countryside Overlay. And with this meeting, that what we have to look at as a board up here is the fact also that meeting code and everything being there legally, do we want to subject us to a lawsuit from the developer? So you have to move forward and you have to decide, is it worth denying this to go to a lawsuit and waste tax dollars? And then what happens is the developer comes back and says, well, I won the lawsuit, so we are out your tax money. And at the end of the day, they don't have to develop anything. They can just go in there and sell off lots, and you're going to have 220 houses sitting there in front of you. And that's more houses than what's being proposed. So that's something, I don't know about the rest of the board, but that's something that I do personally look at because I don't want us to end up in lawsuits. With that said, I don't know where the rest of the board stands with this, but I do want to ask the applicant, I don't think you're there yet. I don't think you're ready yet. I think there's still a lot of concerns. I have concerns. I agree with them on L20. It is very, very bad coming out to Kings Highway. If you would like to postpone this and have some more discussion and bring it back, I will be honest with you, I'm not there yet. I think there needs to be more conversation. I think that there is valid points that they brought up. Angle Road is a bad road. Traffic on Kings Highway to Angle is bad. There's a development ahead of this. L20 isn't a road that y'all can use. It's a canal road. It can't be used for traffic. There's still a lot of conversations I think that have to be had, and I think we have to also consider some of the things that, a red light's going to have to come out at L20 either way you look at it for anybody to be safe. So I'm offering y'all the opportunity to postpone this. I don't know what the rest of the board feels, but that would be my recommendation to y'all, is to postpone it and go back and have some more conversations with the neighbors and see what could be done to maybe make it to where it's palatable for them. I don't want us to end up in a lawsuit, but they have valid points. I do want to point out to Mr. White about the chickens and the dogs. They're allowed in residential neighborhoods in Lakewood Park and Indian River State, so you're going to hear a barking dog anywhere you live. But I do recognize and respect where you live and your family and you being a long-time resident here. So, and I know that you live there because you wanted to be in the country, but at the same time, we have to look at Meadowwoods across the street, which is a large, large development. So there's pros and cons on both sides. And so for me, I'm gonna suggest that you table this and come back. That's gonna be my recommendation. However, there's further people sitting up here, and I'm only one vote, one decision.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Clasby.
Mr. Benton, could you pull up the staff report and read from the standards of review H for us for the record?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Clasby, I believe each would then relate to the rezoning as opposed
Page
to the preliminary.
617 of the, whether the extent to which the proposed amendment would result in an orderly and logical development pattern.
And Commissioner, would you like that displayed on screen?
Sure.
Give us a moment while we pull that. Thanks everyone for your patience. And as noted, it's a collective petition for both rezoning and a site plan. There are standards that apply to the rezoning, and then additional standards that apply to the site plan. Sorry for the delay on our internet. I do have it up here in my paper copy if you'd like me to begin reading.
Sure, it's page
Or
617.
I can have Mr. Crow read it while I try to pull it on screen.
Criterion H, whether and the extent to which the proposed amendment would result in an orderly and logical development pattern, specifically identifying any negative effects on such pattern.
And then, are you looking for staff's analysis?
Yes.
Reply?
While the TVC allows for a maximum of 2 units per acre on this property, the proposed 0.21 to 0.46 size lots are not compatible with the larger 0.93 to 4.29 acre lots, average lot size of 2.2 acres on the adjacent segment of Johnston Road, which was emphasized by residents at the neighborhood meeting. Staff noted at the neighborhood meeting that there were ways to transition density, for example, trending from larger lots in the west to smaller lots in the east, and or the cul-de-sac lots could be larger, which could result in fewer adjacent lots. The density might end up more like 1.5 rather than 2 dwelling units per acre. The applicant did not pursue such design elements and is pursuing the highest possible density of 2 units per acre with the smaller lots. Staff would point out, however, that a combination of buffers, ponds, and littoral shorelines along with the west buffer provides as much as 108 feet of distance in some areas between homes and neighboring property lines to the west, which mitigates somewhat for the lot size incompatibility. It is also true that under the current AG1 and AR1 zoning, each 1 acre lot could have a guest home, resulting in the same 82 units.
So for me, I feel like we have grounds to potentially deny the application as it stands today on a logical development pattern given that. However, I do want to say a lot of nice things about this project. This project is one of the best projects I've seen come before us since I've been on this board, and I really would like to see more projects like this. However, I would be in agreement with Commissioner Townsend that I think that there's a little bit more work that needs to be done on this to address some of the residents' concerns and to try to fully encapsulate the comments there on item H from the site plan review.
Thank you. Commissioner Meade.
I would have to agree with both commissioners. I'm not going to repeat what everybody says, but one thing that stuck out to me that the residents had said is the mentality between the people that buy a 70 by 130 lot versus somebody buying a acre or 2 acre lot and having animals and livestock and all the other things that go along with that. For that reason, I don't think it fits into this area because of the lot sizes. I know they're by law, they can do that. But I would agree, I'd like to see this thing tabled. I'd like to see the lots larger. Quite frankly, if I had my druthers and could control it, I agree with the lady that said, let's put some $1 million homes out there. and we'll love it, they'll love it, and we might be able to get some more tax revenue from the people buying them rather than a whole bunch of small ones. So that being said, I am definitely on the board of tabling it, and let's see what we can do to make everybody happy, because in this particular area, again, I don't think it gets a good fit with the lots that are surrounding it or in front of it.
Thank you. Madam Chair? This is a great evening. I have to say, with district planning, when I first was shown this project, I said, you know, finally, someone's getting it. This makes sense. The lot size, the cul-de-sacs, and the beauty about this venue and this space for us all to have discussion is us as a board being able to listen to residents that know what's best for that area, especially when you have people that have lived there for generations. And I just am not comfortable yet. I think the infrastructure will need to be there first before approval, and I'm totally on board with tabling this if it's the will of the board. And I appreciate everyone coming out, and this has been a very educational night as a new commissioner.
All right, so I will share, obviously, we met, and so just a little quick learning lesson for everyone. Everyone's heard of Sunshine, but you'd be surprised how often people don't understand about Sunshine. So for instance, you know, this is Commissioner Townsend's district. So if there's a neighborhood meeting that an applicant or developer is putting on, if she's going to it, we sort of really can't be there because it's going to be very easy to have a violation of Sunshine. If she shares how she might potentially vote, there you go, it's all gone. So when something isn't necessarily in our district, if residents don't reach out to us directly via phone, email, and share their concerns, same thing, we can't have private conversations. So best intentions, Commissioner Townsend can't come back and tell us about that neighborhood meeting over coffee a week later and share your guys' concerns. So this is a very important part of the process. There were some things raised this evening that I wasn't aware of, and I will also share that I drove out there this weekend, actually, and spent a little time out there on Johnston Road and just kind of looking at things and kind of watching the traffic and the way everyone was moving. Definitely, you get those back roads, people are going to speed. That's just, I mean, they speed on paved roads, but it's definitely an issue. So, not going to echo everything everyone else has said, but after being out there, feet on the ground, again, one gentleman said, looking at something on a picture that looks one way, looks beautiful, but then when you get out there, and so just some of my concerns would be how close the entrance is to that one home right there. I feel like they're going to be on their pool, laying on their pool deck and watching just vehicles come in and out all day. I love the open space, that big ball field, but my concern is that going to drive games there? And if so, where are people going to park? Is that really what we want? Maybe we want a different type of amenity. I don't know. But just the buffers, you do have some good buffers, but you're measuring them from house to house. And I would say maybe take a closer look from house to property line, right? Because you could have someone right on the other side of that hedge and only be maybe 83 feet away or something of that nature. So it sounds like the board is sort of in sync on this one, but I'll bring it back to you guys to see if you'd like to table it and come back to us and work on it a little bit more and tweak it some, but I will leave that in your hands.
And Madam Chair, I just want to say, I've watched the planning and zoning meeting, and it's important for y'all to come, just like tonight you're here. And I have heard people say that it doesn't matter and we don't listen, and that's not true. We do. And all of us sitting up here tonight, I know where you live, and I live in St. Lucie Village, but I have property out that way as well. And I look forward to the day that I can go out there And I know that someday I'm going to be facing the same thing, and I hope that the board that's sitting up here, when I'm out there in the country with y'all, is going to take into consideration. And so, you know, Leslie, if this goes forward tonight, I would be motioning it to be denied. I'm giving you the opportunity. I think you've heard the residents. I think you need to go back. I think you need to have more conversations with them. I think they realize something's going to come there. They respect that and they understand that. But we know what happens if it's denied. So that's why I went that path, to see if you wanted to take the out and go back and buy more time. If not, then I have a feeling you're going to be denied a 5-0 vote tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks for the opportunity to get back up and talk with you for a minute. I think one of the things that I'm hoping that we can take away is a little bit more direction from you. So one of the things that we discussed at the beginning of this is that were it not for the TVC future land use, we could develop under Ag 1. And under Ag 1, you could do a straight subdivision, larger lots, a guest home on each. But then you don't get the kind of thing that we are doing here, which is the big littoral water areas. You're going with straight zoning, so you're getting kind of your basic lot, and where you will have your standard buffer, the code required buffer, but the houses will be much closer under that standard Ag 1 zoning than they are under what we've proposed. Is that what you're looking for? Are you looking for an Ag 1 style straight zoning subdivision? Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, for me it is. I'm not going to take away the zoning that you currently have. I can't.
Right.
So what you're entitled to, and it's Ag 1 sitting there today. We can't remove that from you, right?
Right.
But I don't know about the rest of the board. I mean, personally, I'd like to see 5-acre tracts there, but it's Ag 1, and I respect that. So, y'all, the rest of you have to speak up.
What's the will of the rest of the board?
I'm willing to make a motion for denial.
Well, I don't think we're there yet. I think it's, Ms. Olson is just looking for some direction, since we're asking them to postpone this, so they kind of know what they'd be working on exactly.
Madam Chair, I have a
I'm sorry?
Sorry. So with this, I'm kind of confused as to how the TVC enhances this neighborhood. I mean, for me, it kind of just looks like it's a PUD that could really pop up inside the TVC or outside the TVC. What elements specifically say that this is a TVC PUD?
So some of the TVC elements that we brought into this PUD, and it doesn't fall under, it doesn't fall into the other plan developments allowed under the TVC, but we were trying to create that sense of a flowway between the lakes with those littoral shelves, that interconnection, so that increased water quality that you get out of that. The wading birds, I think we're actually creating a lot of habitat with this. And then the other item is that connection. So staff is looking for the connection to the L20 for the future, not current. It's just we're dedicating our portion of the right-of-way to make it county standard, the L20 there. And then we have planned for a future connection, and that's at the request of staff, and also complies with that TBC interconnection that the TBC is looking for. And then those connections that are possible to the east as well. That's another TBC element.
And so, I mean, we had that list of available rezone 2 districts, and I mean, I noticed that obviously you guys picked the PUD, but there were some straight zoning districts that you could have gone to, and had you gone to those, you would have not been able to fit this neighborhood on the site plan. Is that right? Because of road widths or on-site storage of water, that sort of thing.
Can we pull up our presentation and go to that slide? I don't have it easily on my computer. I don't want to fumble.
Which slide? That's it.
I mean, it's practically illegible here. But, so this particular, yeah, thank you, Corey. This particular slide shows like a copy and pasted version of the really big table in the comp plan that says here are all the zoning districts, and that's in the column there on the left. And then a row along the top is every kind of land use, future land use that you have. So what I did is I took just the TBC and the zoning districts, and that's why it's a little hinky. So in the TBC, we could do commercial neighborhood, which is commercial. We could do commercial office, which is commercial, commercial general, industrial light, industrial heavy, utilities, institutional, planned country subdivision, which is a TVC specific type of district. And then I think, Corey, there were a couple up top, weren't there? Oh, and there's a PRW. That's if you want to do commercial. Or residential conservation, which is a specific type of zoning district for environmentally sensitive lands. So there aren't many things for us to choose from that are consistent, actually, for housing.
But you were saying that you wouldn't be able to develop under Ag 1 or AR 1.
Because they're not consistent with the TVC.
Okay. I kind of stick to, whenever I read in the staff report that they said that some things, I think the word was not compatible. I mean, that kind of sticks out for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really why we spent so much time designing the site, so that instead of the bigger lots, you got a lot of open space and buffer. At our narrow points, we're 100 feet away from those property lines. At our wide points, we're 300 feet away from those property lines. So, that was our goal. Our goal was to try to address these things through actually not just making bigger lots on the west side, but having no lots on the west side. So that was our goal, and we're willing to take a breather and try again. But I didn't hear much of what either the residents or the board want us to do.
In my reading of that staff report, I think the suggestion was to try to get the density closer to 1.5 units per acre to be more compatible with the built environment.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Townsend.
And maybe go back and have another neighborhood meeting. I think
Sure.
they all respect its property. If this was their property, they would want to do something. I think they all respect that. I think you need to go back and have another neighborhood meeting and talk to them and say, what are you comfortable with? I mean, I agree there are nice homes on that street.
Yeah.
What's the price point of these houses going to be? Do you know?
Oh, I would think they'd be well over $500,000.
Okay. I mean, because the houses on that road are well up above that. They're nice houses.
Yeah.
So I would just recommend that you go back and you have another meeting with them and see where you can get where they're comfortable. I mean, I think from us, we're wanting more acreage per house,
Right.
So that it meets what's there.
Right.
For me, my thing is the road. The Angle Road is really, really bad, and that's why I brought Patrick up here. I mean, not having anything in the making of doing anything on some of these roads up until 2050 is alarming, right? But we also know, being in this, that also triggers too. Like if something comes in and there's more traffic, then it triggers it, that the TPO board then brings stuff forward, and that's when they shift roads around. But this would only be the second or third project out there, so it wouldn't trigger it. So these houses are going to be dumping onto already a road that already needs repair, and it's a 2-lane road. So I think there's still more work to be done. I'm giving you the opportunity, if you're willing and you want to try to go back and meet with them. I'm happy to be there with you, and maybe reach a happy medium with them. It's something that they can be comfortable with, and then come back to us.
Okay. Kara, did you come up? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
we're going to go ahead and withdraw and take the table for this evening, and we will have further discussions and bring it back to you. So I thank you for your consideration tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think you need a motion. Oh, you just withdrew, so you don't need a motion?
He withdrew.
He withdrew.
Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri, it's my understanding they withdrew their application.
Yeah, they're tabling it. They're tabling it. No, they're going to go back to staff and.
Do we need a motion? Yes.
At this point, if they're tabling and withdrawing it, then they will have to renotice it all and everything, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not concerned about the renoticing,
Okay.
but we're not withdrawing. We're just
Yeah, they're-
tabling.
So do you need a motion?
Just do, I think on the safe side, we'll just do a motion
Okay.
and then table it.
I'll make a motion that this is tabled until further notice.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'll give you guys just a second to.
And when y'all leave, I want to say, and I know this board says it, we appreciate everybody being here. And when this does come back, if it comes back, it's important that you get to planning and zoning. It's important that you show up here because this board does listen and they care.
All right, we're going to go ahead and continue. If I could just have everyone step outside to continue their conversations. And with that, we'll go ahead and go into public item number 2, the Treasure Coast Learning Center, the conditional use. Maite's going to get the door shut for us real quick.
We made some constituents happy.
All right, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Tahir Curry, planner with the St. Lucie County Planning Department. Agenda item 10B2 is a request for a conditional use permit to establish a child daycare service known as the Treasure Coast Learning Center for up to 45 students ranging from 6 weeks to 5 years old within the commercial neighborhood zoning district. In accordance with the St. Lucie County Land Development Code, it was properly noticed with the signed petition site. Local notices mailed out within 500 feet and a placed in the St. Lucie County News Tribune on July 25th, 2025. It was sent out to 53 surrounding property owners. It's a 0.36 acre site. It is located has access on Midway Road. It's a 4,400 square foot building that was utilized as a retail building. The site is situated on the south side of Midway Road across from the historical White City area. A beauty salon exists immediately west. Jewelry store across Elm Avenue to the east. As mentioned, the site is zoned commercial neighborhood. Under the commercial neighborhood zoning district, child daycare services are classified as a conditional use. Just before you have the existing site, how it looks, and then to the right of your screen, you see that it will ultimately be has received some renovations to the exterior of the space. The revised plan improves the on-site traffic circulation and pedestrian movement by reconfiguring the parking layout and supporting walkability. A new sidewalk connection to Midway Road has been introduced to promote safe pedestrian access from the public right-of-way. Additional parking spaces near the northern entrance driveway has been removed and replaced with landscape islands to reduce vehicular congestion and enhance the site's frontage. A key enhancement is an inclusion of an 8-foot wide buffer between the entry, sidewalk, and parking area. The buffer allows for a safer and more comfortable pedestrian movement, especially during peak hours when children and guardians are on site, minimizing potential conflicts between vehicles and foot traffic. Also, a playground will be placed south of the site, fenced in, property to keep children inside the space. Safety gates. The area will replace a portion of the existing asphalt pavement area to comply with the state licensing for outdoor space for child occupancy, as shown on the screen. The site has two driveway accesses on Midway Road and Elm Avenue. The site will utilize a drop-off and pick-up in lieu of a queue system. I know some daycares have like a queue line system. This site will not. It will just be the parents or guardians will park in the space and escort their children inside of the building. This is a daycare operation, just going to provide some information of the daycare and what some things will be featured inside. The proposed hours are 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Drop-off times, pickup times. Your drop-off time is 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Pickup times are 3:30 to 6 p.m. There's again 45 students, 6 weeks to 5 years old. 9 employees. At least 3 employees will be on the site at a given time, not all 9 employees. The site will have 13 parking spaces, including 1 handicap. 3 of the spaces will be accommodated for the staff. That was shown on the previous slide. Lunch will be brought in by the individual children. There will be no like food cooked on site or anything like that, no kitchen. All food will be prepared, brought in from the children. The interior of the space, being that it was a retail, it has to comply with the Florida Building Codes and regulations for a daycare. So, as mentioned, we did send out 53 notices within 500 feet. The planning department did receive 4 responses, 2 in favor, 1 not in favor, 1 with no opinion. And these show this on the screen, the 2 green that are in favor. The grayed out area is the one with no opinion, and then the coarse to red is not in favor. On July 17, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners. This petition conforms to the standards of review as set forth in the St. Lucie County Land Development Code, Section 110703, and is consistent with the St. Lucie County Comprehensive Plan, Goals, Objectives, and Policies. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve this petition subject to the following conditions. And I'll go pretty quickly over this. As mentioned, a change of occupancy will be required before a zoning compliance is issued. Also, parking area and landscape shall be modified like we shown on the previous few screens as far as a modified plan. This was a new condition that we did add in, that they must provide like operations to develop a parent pickup drop-off manual detailing the procedures intended to ensure safe and efficient vehicular movement on the site. That's something that we would ask for too, along with the when they submit in the zoning compliance or the change of occupancy. We'll make sure they have that, just detailing and making sure that their safety coming in off Midway Road to the site, how the site will be moving, just to make sure that there's no issues with that. Tree survey consistent with the Land Development Code. Tree mitigation, Final landscape plan, any vegetation that has to be removed on the site. Any invasive plants shall be eradicated from the site if there are any. This includes staff presentation. Of course, we're here to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well if you have any questions about the daycare as well.
Thanks to hear. This item is quasi judicial. Commissioner Clasby, do you want to start with your disclosures?
I've spoke with staff on this one.
Staff as well.
Ben and Corey.
Staff.
Staff.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have some questions.
Yep. Commissioner Townsend.
Okay, so I need you to help me get my boundaries here. This is on Midway. Is it on the corner of Midway and Elm?
Yes.
Okay. On Midway Road, is it going to be a right in and a right out only? Is it on the north side of Midway?
South.
Okay, it's on the south side. So it's on the same side as G. Allen Jewelers.
Yes.
Okay.
It's immediately west of G. Allen.
Okay.
Melanie's Tangles.
Okay, so is that going to be coming out of it, are you going to be able to turn only right? Coming out of the daycare onto Midway?
I'm sorry, ask that question.
So if you're coming out of the daycare,
Okay.
is it going to be a right out to leave only?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because that's a bad road to be able to come out there and turn left. But isn't there already an opening there, Corey, that you can turn left at that median?
You can off of, between where you see it here on the screen, it may be kind of difficult for someone to kind of go all the way over and off of Midway.
So, because I know there's an opening there.
It is.
Okay. And then you said that the play area was going to be fenced.
Correct.
Is that only the area that's going to be fenced, or is the outside parking property going to be fenced?
So it is fenced to the south of the property. You can see it on the screen here a little bit. It is fenced, but then they have, of course, a screen to fence in the whole entire play area.
I mean, I support this, but I do want to say something to staff. Is the applicant here?
Yes, she is here.
Hi. Has she been working with the Business Navigator? This is a small business. And this is a perfect example of why a small business navigator should be sitting here with her this evening. Ma'am, do you have a planner or an attorney assisting you with this?
If you could come up to the, thank you, good evening.
Just state your name, please.
Hi, my name is Regina McNally. I am the co-owner of Treasure Coast Learning Center.
Okay, so this is an example of why this position was created. This is a young lady that is trying to open up something that's well needed in this community. Anybody that's a mother, I'm sure you know that, right? And here she is out there fending for herself, going to staff, which is intimidating in itself, okay? And here she is. I'm impressed, actually, that you've made it this far alone. God bless you, because it's not an easy task.
No.
It truly isn't. And we have great staff, we really do. And you actually, if you ended up with Taylor and Corey, I mean, they are patient, right? But I bring this up because years ago we created the Business Navigator for stuff like this. This is a young woman trying to live a dream, trying to make a difference, trying to provide a service that's well needed in this community. Where was our Business Navigator in assisting her and walking her through this process to make sure she's here? Have you went to the building department and found and asked them there's a lot of requirements in putting together a daycare.
Absolutely.
A lot of fire requirements. You have to have suppression systems. It's a lot of cost. And so for you to get this far and have spent the money that you've spent, I'm hoping the county's not failed you. Because you have a big road ahead of you, and I'm going to pray that you get there. I'm happy to help you. I'm sure any of us sitting up here are happy to help you get there. So please call me if you have problems. And I know that they've done a good job, but my concern is she's getting ready to leave here tonight, and we need to have somebody that is going to help her and assist her and walk her through the process. She should not be going through this alone. Where's the Small Business Navigator?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Townsend, members of the board, Fondra Lanise, our business navigator, did initiate some contact, I believe, back in May with Ms. McNally. I know she's provided emphasis on the building permit change of occupancy process. It was pointed out as early as possible that the conditional use was required for planning and zoning authorization. And so I know Ms. McNally's been working with a design professional, as you can see from the screen, the existing conditions to the proposed for the exterior of the property. I know they have some initial floor plans and are working on the layout of the interior. So we've tried to engage our business navigator throughout the process. I know she's not present this evening, but she's
So
been...
you have met with our
work-
business navigator and she has helped you with this?
We have communicated. I've asked questions. I've gotten some responses back as far as what the next step is, things like that, like the timing of everything. Sometimes that's a little fuzzy, and I've asked for clarification, but I've gotten help. I know Tahir, Corey, they've been wonderful, and Donda has helped where she feels like she's able to, but you bring up a great point, and I appreciate that.
I don't have any concerns with this. I wish you the very best. You're going to have some challenges. I'm happy to help you.
Thank you.
I mean, I will give you my phone number.
Wow.
I will assist you along the way because you're going to need some assistance. You're not going to be able to do this alone.
Thank you. I appreciate it because I know I am here by the grace of God.
And I'm gonna, and you are to get this far. But I don't want to overstep my boundaries, Commissioner Fowler. I mean, if you want to step in and help her, that's great. But I also know you have a little one, and you have a lot more heavier schedule than I do. But I want somebody to help walk her through this process.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is amazing that you've made it this far. It is a very intensive process, and especially if you're not familiar with it, right? I mean, they can do it with their eyes closed and one hand tied behind their back, but for regular people like you and me, we need help. So
absolutely.
Thank you for being here. I too fully support this. We can't have enough child care centers in St. Lucie County. I have a 2-year-old, so I'm fully aware. Wait lists, quality of the locations. So thank you for taking this on because we definitely need it. The community needs it. And I too am fully in support of it. Likewise, while we do represent districts, we are at large. So while this is in my district, whether you want to reach out to Commissioner Townsend, myself, Clasby, Lowry, we're all here to help you. So whatever it is, what I will do is I'll have Dominic, my aide, is sitting right back there. He'll give you my card so that you have it when you leave tonight, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Clasby.
Congratulations, by the way. I'm really familiar with this building. A cousin of mine used to run a hair salon there, Melanie's Tangle Masters, back in the day.
Okay.
It's actually a really good
I know where it's at.
building setup for, I think, a daycare with the garages and things like that.
Yes.
I think it's a good spot. I would say that, and I believe you already have a design professional with you on this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
this
God.
is not something you want to do alone.
No.
There's plenty of those out there in the world that can help you with this, and I'm hoping our planning staff is, getting them all the information they need as well. But I'm in support of this tonight as well.
Thank you.
All right,
Madam
and Commissioner Lee?
One quick question. Did the resident that did not want this to go through list a reason why?
They did not. Funny, the person that did support it, they just kind of mentioned just making sure that Midway Road, there's no like pile up of cars kind of going into the site, almost like a
car loop.
Yeah, looping system.
I'm in support of the project. I just, like to know why somebody would not want this, because obviously, as everyone has said, it's well needed in the area. Compliment you on far as getting as you have, and anything we could do on this board to assist, let us know.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, what I do want to do is, this is a public hearing, so if there's any members of the public wishing to address us on this item, now would be your time to come forward. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment, come back to the board.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Ms. McNally.
Madam Chair, members of the board will certainly continue our communication, and I know we've had our building official and members of the fire district activated, and we'll try to assist to the finish line where possible.
We appreciate it. Thank you. We know you'll take good care of her. And with that, we're going into the P1 Motor Club.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, for the record, Thad Crow, Senior Planner, Planning and Development Services Department. This is a relatively simple future land use map amendment. P1 has been here before. They've gotten a future land use map of special district for a motorsports community. And then the PNRD, the plan non-residential development, was approved. They are also in with a final site plan that will begin the first phase. So this is a utility-related amendment that we'll briefly discuss. We did follow the public notice requirements. Again, you're in Ag 5 country out there. Special district is there in the middle, you can see. I'm not going to go over the special district, but each of these areas, basically B and A and B has a track. And then there's also a number of other uses, motorsports related, as well as garage mahalls, single family or attached residences, and an R&D park out on Area C along Okeechobee. So this is the proposed change, and this is the first regulatory standard. There's I forget how many of them are there, but this is the first one. And with your patience, I'll just try to read this quickly. The P1 MC Special District, located south of Okeechobee Road and west of Summerlin Road, will be guided by the following standards and will require a future planned mixed-use development zoning district to create a private motorsports club that provides mostly paved private roads designed for high-performance driving in a controlled environment. The P1 MC project will be served primarily by a privately provided, self-contained, and this is where the new language comes in, wastewater treatment facility, and either by a privately provided and self-contained or public St. Lucie County water system, all at no expense to St. Lucie County, and will also include various resort amenities. The corporate building, this is the first phase, the corporate building up to 5,000 square feet and up to 4 residences may be served with temporary water and wastewater facilities with authorization terms and transition timeframes to central utility systems provided within the PMUD. So they have to follow this up with coming back to amend the PMUD to memorialize this in that. So just in brief summary, what we're doing here is we're adding an alternative for a public water system from the county. Right now, they can only do a private water system. I'll let the applicant speak to some of the challenges they've had about water on the site, but there have been some issues that have come up. The other part of this is that the interim temporary private wastewater facility serving these limited number of uses. And the important part is the last bullet here, and this is repeated in the original special district. The water and wastewater systems will be provided at no expense to the county. They will be fully funded and paid for by the applicant. So I think that the reason we're being very careful about this, and we took our lead from you when you considered this, is the potential for sprawl. I think that was a concern at the outset. Other developments might come in around it and say, we want to do something just like this. And before you know it, you've got a little city or whatever out there. So I think that in particular, like the water and sewer extension could increase development pressure. And that's why we have this regulatory standard 1, which kind of had self-contained utilities only to serve this use. So while it does open the door for the county to serve bulk water, however you want to call it, it doesn't open the door wide enough to allow for precedent or other developments to follow suit. There are also comp plan policies that I think are supportive of this. Is we're careful about non-ag development outside the urban service area. It has to address its own infrastructure needs, and it has to pay the entire cost of its fiscal impacts on public facilities and service. So this is enshrined in our comp plan. New development cannot shift the economic impact of the new development to existing taxpayers. They are on the hook. Developers are on the hook to pay their freight. In conclusion, I think we look at the standards for consideration. The amendment will not change the fact that this is not urban sprawl. It will not place an economic burden on taxpayers, but it does provide some flexibility in terms of infrastructure provision, which will, I think, work for everyone. It'll work for the applicant in terms of reducing costs and in terms of having that flexibility. and it will promote economic development and job creation. This is a long-term project, and this is at the beginning stages, and we support, staff supports the applicant in what they're doing here. So here's where we are in the process. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this back in April. You transmitted this in May. We received a clearance letter from the Department of Commerce, Florida Department of Commerce, and the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council. No other agencies provided any objections. So that's where we are now. The amendment that would allow for the option of St. Lucie County water provision, temporary wastewater service for that first phase for residences in the corporate building, and with the emphasis that there will be, the taxpayers will not, and the county will not be on the hook for any of the utilities. Thank you, Madam Chair. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Thad. Questions?
No, ma'am.
No? All right. Not quasi judicial, but it is a public hearing. I'll go ahead and open it up to public comment if there's anyone wishing to address the board. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. I see our applicant, Mr. Strauss, here. Do you have anything you want to add or say?
Madam Chair, I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
I'm available for any questions.
The microphones probably didn't pick it up, but the applicant has declined to make any comments at this time. All right, so with that, I will come back to the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, and moving on to our last public hearing item for the Orange Avenue Growers Market. Hey, Irene.
It's exciting.
I like this one.
Good evening, Madam Chair and
Evening.
members of the Board of County Commissioners. For the record, Irene Settlemyer, Senior Planner with the Planning and Development Services Department. So this is the Orange Avenue Growers Market Conditional Use Permit application. Public notice was made as required by the code. We did receive 2 responses to the mailed notice, both of which supported the conditional use permit application. We mailed to some 20 owners of 20 different properties. We received responses from 2, both of which support the application. The property is south of Orange Avenue, just west of the Turnpike. The applicant owns about 100 acres in this area, west of the Turnpike and south of Orange. The 2 largest parcels, which total about 75 acres, are used for grazing cattle. So it is in agricultural use. So back in July of 2024, the board amended the Land Development Code to allow for farmers markets in the agricultural zoning districts. Prior to that amendment, a farmer could engage in retail or wholesale trade as an accessory use for products from his or her own farm. But now, after the amendments were adopted, it allows a farmer's the sale of products from numerous farms in the area from one property. The individual that initiated this amendment of the Land Development Code is also the applicant for this conditional use permit. This is the first application to be considered pursuant to the new provisions. So what happened with the amendment to the Land Development Code, Ordinance 2426, provide for the establishment and operation of farmers markets in Ag 5, Ag 2.5, and Ag 1 zoning districts countywide, requires a conditional use permit, and it enacted definitions and minimum standards that must be demonstrated. It defined a farmer's market expressly to provide that it is not a flea market, an antique market, or similar marketing activity. The supplemental standards expressly provide that the sale of crafts, souvenirs, clothing, jewelry, etc. are not permitted. The supplemental standards establish the intent, to be a small area for local farmers, gardeners, and producers to sell fresh, locally grown and produced farm products and value-added farm products. Sales may be from a truck, table, tent, booth, or a permanent structure less than 6,000 square feet, and it can be open for business not more than 3 days per week. It provides for parking standards that 1 space per 1,000 square feet of market area. ADA spaces, Americans with Disability Act spaces must be paved. The design of the parking area is to be reviewed with the application for the conditional use permit. Paving may be required for vehicular use areas. Other materials and methods of stabilization may be considered or required, considering the scale, frequency, and duration of use. The supplemental standards expressly point to provisions in our existing code that allow places of worship, for example, to religious facilities, to provide up to 75% of the required parking to be stabilized grass parking. If the deterioration of that grass parking, if the grass parking deteriorates, as indicated by bare earth or dead grass, the county can require paving of all or some. So we incorporated that kind of evaluation into the supplemental standards for the farmers market for guidance. So this slide shows the particular lot and the particular site development plan. The lot or the parcel is about 8.5 acres. The farmers market area will occupy 3 or 4 acres of that 8.7 acre site. This shows the sales area, just 7,800 square feet of sales area. It shows the provisions for stormwater management, a drainage swale along the northern part, drainage swale along the southern part, and provision for dry detention. This shows the parking area. 39 parking spaces are provided. A dumpster area with landscaping. Portable restrooms and portable hand washing facilities are proposed with landscape buffering and a 26-foot wide driveway off of Orange Avenue. The landscaping plan provides for the utilization of existing trees on the adjacent parcel that is owned by the same property owner, and for the preservation of palm trees in the palm, what we call the palm tree protection area, landscaping around the restrooms, landscaping around the dumpster area, and the property owner has relocated numerous palm trees from elsewhere on the site to the front of the property to help buffer the parking from the roadway. This is a view of the property, the site that where the parcel where the farmers market will be is on the right. This is looking north towards Orange Avenue. These are some of the existing trees on the parcel to the west, which will be utilized to help to buffer or help meet the landscaping requirements for vehicular use areas, which includes the driveway. So some supplemental plantings would be required by our code, shrubs and maybe additional trees to meet the vehicular use area buffer requirements. These are the palm trees that have been relocated from elsewhere on the site to the front of the property or the northern part of the property. So on June 19th, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on this item and unanimously recommended that the board approve the conditional use permit with consideration for the elimination of the requirement for a 12-foot paved multi-use path on Orange Avenue, requirements of the landscape code, and requirements for paved access and parking. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve the conditional use permit for a farmers market at 10 485 Orange Avenue, subject to the 10 conditions outlined in the draft resolution. Additionally, staff would add that, as set forth in the staff report on page 19, the board may wish to consider granting the applicant the relief requested, which you will hear from the applicant's representative, from paving the vehicular use area except as required for the ADA, the landscaping code, and the multi-use path on Orange Avenue, subject to a reevaluation at some point in the future, maybe after 1 year of operations or 2 years of operation, and at that time, for staff to be able to determine or you could say, bring it back to you, is the public health, safety, and welfare being adequately protected, given that certain standards have been waived, or do we need to ask for stricter implementation of the otherwise applicable code? The code with regard to conditional use permits expressly provides that the board can establish a period of time within which a duration of the permit. So this would be consistent with the conditional use permit code. And that concludes my presentation. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have. Dennis Murphy is here to make a presentation on behalf of the applicant. Thank you.
Thanks, Irene. Good evening, Ms. Murphy. How are you?
Madam Chairman, board members, good evening. I almost said good morning. Been here a while, but not that long. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak to you tonight. Irene did a pretty good job explaining what we're doing here. I think you all have, we've been here before, we talked about this. This is the establishment of a small farmers market operation on property intended to help nourish and help encourage, agricultural uses, local agricultural uses, and local agricultural products here for sale to the residents of St. Lucie County. As Irene pointed out, at the Planning and Zoning Commission, we had a discussion on a couple of the recommended conditions of approval in through here, and basically we got a little concerned about a couple of them. Not major, but we can work around most of them. Specifically, if you look at the draft ordinance, and you look at conditions number 3 and number 4, those are what I think for this type of a project, in a simple word, overkill. The multi-use path alongside Orange Avenue appears to be rather excessive for this particular type of use, and I would respectfully request you save me some time, and maybe we can waive that particular item off. And the paving issue, we are coming in here, we know we have to put in a paved driveway connection to Orange Avenue. And we'll be crossing, the way the property lines work, we'll probably be crossing a little bit of maybe some turnpike access property, and it's a county road, not a state road, so it's a little bit of a permitting nightmare. But we'll be putting a paved driveway connection onto Orange Avenue. And we will pull that apron back some distance into the property. What I would really like to avoid is to, without getting into the arguments of what is paving and what isn't paving, millings and that kind of stuff, we're going to either be doing crushed concrete or millings on our primary vehicle use area, as was shown on the site plan. I don't want to get into asphalt. I don't want to get into excessive concrete. Again, that defeats the whole purpose of what we're trying to do when it gets to cost. I should be back, I should be very fortunate if I have to come back to the county on a code enforcement complaint saying that we are creating a dust storm and so many other problems because if we're so successful, we have so much traffic that we have to go back in and improve the property. And we know that if we ever got to that point, that's what the rules say. We come back and we rebuild it like we would need to for a regular commercial use. It will take time to get there. And we believe that one day we may get there, but it will take time to get there. So I would probably respectfully request that conditions 3 and 4 of the draft resolution be eliminated. As for the landscaping, a lot of the landscaping comments were this was kind of done, and this is the hard part sometimes about as you're going through and doing your projects, things are somewhat evolving as it goes through the final prep work. I think most of the landscaping comments have been addressed. The only thing that we have to probably have some discussion on are some of the perimeter hedging issues, but the perimeter properties are our own. If you look at the parcel maps out there, you'll see 4 or 5 parcels, but we own them all. So we'll be buffering ourselves. So I'll work with environmental and getting that squared away from there. Other than that, I think we can come in here and deal with most everything that's in here. I know that the staff is very cooperative and working with us and working with all development parties to try to make things as simple as possible, as you've already discussed tonight on some other matters. And I think we can get there from where we go. What I would request tonight, with my aforementioned comments, that we be moved for approval. I'm available for any questions that you may have, and we will be sure to let you know when we're up and operational.
Excellent.
Oh, one last thing I do want to comment. The Sherloss really it's their family property. I mean, they care about this thing. And as Irene pointed out, we did go out, actually, they did go out and move a number of the existing palms that they had on the property. We relocated them up to kind of create a new, well, I'm not going to call it a hedging screen, but it's a nice visual landscaping screen alongside Orange Avenue out there. And what's really interesting is they did it themselves, and they didn't lose a tree. And they moved about 15, 18 trees and did not lose one of them. And they're committed to making this thing work and making it an attractive facility for the community. So I think that says something to we will be good neighbors. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm available to answer them. I'll go from there.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Commissioner Glasby.
I had a couple questions. I'm in favor of this project, and I'm in favor of giving some leniency on some of the standards, specifically with number 3, as far as the paving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're still planning on reinforcing, stabilizing millings, or
Yes.
you're requesting to not do?
No, we'll be doing. Well, it's going to be a budget call at the end of the day, whether it be stabilized base millings or a crushed concrete. It's just going to be whatever is the most economical going to do. But it will be a stabilized course on the travelway and some of the initial parking area. The handicap spaces will meet ADA compliance requirements, and they will be they'll be concrete with the appropriate access ramps and so forth.
Okay, and then on number 4, I mean, I understand why you wouldn't want to put a sidewalk there at the moment, but the pay in lieu of, have you researched how much that would be?
I haven't run the specific calculations on this property, but they're not cheap. Again, it's going to depend upon what we consider frontage. If you go back and look at the property maps, do you have a parcel map you can pop up there? The parcel maps show, again, depending upon what you look at. I could see where it says Orange Avenue and that dashed red line right there. Mm-hmm. If I have to go and count all of that, that's a big chunk of change. If I don't have to count that, I don't think I have any frontage at that point because I'm not on Orange Avenue. But that gets back to my other question. That triangular, the slopes going over the turnpike, that might be state property. I'm not 100% sure. But what I'd really like to do is just not do it at all. Because what realistically is it going to connect into?
Well, I'm always looking for revenue, but
I appreciate that, and I'm representing the small business operators.
All right, that's all the questions I have.
All right. I will, as a just reminder for myself, we've got to do our disclosures and still open up for public comment, but I will share with you, I am completely comfortable with waiving the multi-use path along Orange Avenue. It's going to be a path to nowhere, so doesn't make sense to do it. I'm also good, again, depending on the comfort level of the board. Again, this isn't anything that's going to be the level of, like, say, our Fort Pierce Farmers Market anytime soon, if ever. So I am, again, also completely comfortable with waiving the paving requirements, the number 3 and 4. For me, if I'm going out to a farmer's market, I'm okay with it being a little rural, a little country, not having, asphalt roads and all the markings and whatnot. So I'm perfectly comfortable with that. Just figured I'd share that.
Can I,
Commissioner Townsend?
can I have Dan come up here, please?
Do we want to do the disclosures?
Hmm?
Disclosures?
I'll let Commissioner Townsend and then that's why I said it out loud, so I kind of remind myself.
So I agree that it's in nowhere, but however, someday it's going to be, and that is why we have fee in lieu of. I want y'all to be aware of that, okay? I would love to be able to waive this. I would love to be able to let them be totally rural and stay on grass. However, we have businesses right now today, one of them is in your district on Midway Road, that is facing this. So I need to ask you first, Dan, has there been anybody that has not had to ever pay the fee in lieu of sidewalks since you've been working here?
Good evening, Chair. Commissioner Townsend, not since I've been here.
Okay. So we're setting a precedent, which if that's the path y'all want to go down, that's fine, but then you're going to have to realize what you're setting up, if you're here 20 years from now, what you're putting yourself to do. Because that's going to be sidewalks connecting, and they're not paying their fair share to that. So again, Dennis, you know, I would totally 100% give it to them. I love this project even, but this is in place for a reason, right? And so the business that is on Midway Road has challenges because she has a piece of property she doesn't own. She's renting it. She's got a lot of money in it. And this board, prior to y'all, said that she could get opened, but we wanted her to phase into that. She has a great business. She's a wonderful partner with us. However, it's a nightmare, and now she's doing so well that she doesn't own the property. She doesn't want to do the pavement, okay? So this is a unique situation, that one. This one, they own the property. So the ADA parking space, that is something that's decided by state. You have to meet that requirement. People have to get out of their cars safely on a hard surface. That's not something we have any say in this. That's federal, okay? So unfortunately, I can't agree to the pay in lieu of construction. However, I'm interested and I'm okay with having something that it's phased in, because I understand this is raw property. I want them to succeed. I want them to be successful. So if there's an agreement somehow done that it's phased in, when they reach benchmarks or something, then they pay in a payment into the fee in lieu of account, and it's followed by staff. The parking pay, same thing. I'm okay with getting them open and getting them started. But through time, 2 years from now, there's no doubt in my mind they are going to be probably bigger than Nelson's, okay? Because people want what they're getting ready to provide, okay? So I don't want to open up that can, because we have businesses out there right now that have to comply to this, and they're smaller than this, and it's going to create a lot of issues and a lot of problems. So I support what staff is saying. The only thing I would do differently is I would say let them phase into this, not require it to get them open. Let them do what they have to do, do some of the hardening surfaces and everything and get open, and let them get the business up and going. There's no doubt they're going to be successful. And then just start phasing in. Give them a year to get in there and get acclimated and get open and have some revenue coming in.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Leslie?
Yeah, I think that's where the direction I was going to, that the paving could be phased in over a period of time that will be determined, and that the pay in lieu of can be negotiated as far as the frontage with our public works staff.
Anyone else? I'm good.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, I appreciate all the comments, and I appreciate all the thoughts into it. And I tried. Yeah, if we can build, I mean, I know what the codes are, and I know the pressures and the challenges that come up. If we can build something in here that's very clear, that gives for lack of a better term, a monitoring period, or a phase-in, like you said, fine. 12 months from now, come back and revisit it, and we can work something out, okay? But I collectively, we both want this thing to succeed, and we both know that the most critical part of any operation, particularly one like this, is the initial capital outlay, and we're trying to minimize that as much as we possibly can. So now, finding the right words on that, I'm going to leave to you guys.
Commissioner Townsend.
I mean, Dennis, I think we all want this. I think we're excited. This is going to be the first one coming in under this new code that we established. I think we all support it. Are you the couple?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Congratulations, I hope. But, you know, we want this. I'm excited for you. And I want you to succeed just like the other four of us sitting up here. So, but unfortunately, we do have to think about our future, and we have to think about the board moving forward. And there are things in place so that our engineering department can continue to move forward with things. So I want to give you leeway and grace and work out something that you can be phased in.
Any other commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Lee.
Over to legal, is that going to be a problem putting this off? I agree with everybody on the board and so on and so forth, but just making sure we don't step on our toes before we make a decision.
Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri, you can add conditions, and if you want to visit these and have it done in a certain amount of time, you can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we do, let's go ahead and do the disclosures. Commissioner Clasby?
I have spoken with staff and the applicant.
Staff.
I'm Ben and Corey.
Staff.
Ben, Corey, and Dennis.
All right, and then let me go ahead and open this up to public comment. This is a public hearing. Anyone wish to comment on this item? Seeing no movement, I'm going to close public comment, come back to the board. I hear your comments, Commissioner Townsend, and I'm good either way. I will just say that, I think we're trying to find ways to incentivize agricultural activity. So for me, that's why I was willing to waive these, and given that it's out west of town. But I do hear your comments. But again, for me, it was a way to, incentivize exactly what it is that we're so sad that is every day leaving this county. So I'll just leave it at that. But we did our public hearing, we did our disclosures. If there's nothing else, I'll come back to the board for the motion.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion, but I do want to say I agree with you. If it was up to the five of us, there's no doubt in my mind, we would have said, move in, do it on grass, park your car.
I would have.
Rah, rah, rah. All five of us, I think, would do that. But unfortunately, we have to think about the future, right? And we have to think that someday there's going to be sidewalks out there. And most importantly, your sweet little lady on Midway Road is suffering, and she's in a rental property. And so when you do something like this, you're setting a strong presence, and you have to be mindful of that. So I appreciate your willingness, and we all are going to work with you. So my motion is going to be that we approve this, that they get open, they can have, the grass, millings, parking, and phase this in over a period of 5 years. And if they need another year or two, we can take it up to 7 years to get them where they need to be. And what else needs to be in the motion, Catherine?
Pay in lieu.
Oh, and no, they've agreed to that. That's already in the staff. They didn't change that. They're doing the pay in lieu. So the only thing we're really changing is the pavement. They don't have to do that to get open to do everything. They can go ahead and do the plan, do the property, and then they can start phasing in the paving process as they go along. So my take, what is your opinion?
I was actually going to ask a question. Do you mean after 5 years from operation, so starting operation, then they have the requirement to pave, or do you want to monitor them in that time frame to see if it triggers paving?
Correct. I want to monitor it in that time frame. Okay. During that 5 years, but if they're not there, then we need to have leniency and take it out further and give them an additional 2.
So you could add a condition that we would monitor for 5 years, subject to, I guess, staff evaluation at that time to see if an additional 2 years can be granted for paving. Is that?
So that gives them 7 years. And by then, they're going to be millionaires.
And would you like to keep that at a staff level in terms of it would be an administrative
Yes,
review?
It's an
Okay.
administrative move.
Okay. I think she included.
Okay.
Irene, you got this?
Yes.
I'd like to second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair, just point of clarification, the fee in lieu of, for the sidewalk,
They've already agreed to it.
But it's
that's
gonna-
starting now, or is that in that same
It's in
five-year
that same
period?
timeframe.
That's what we just wanted to
Okay.
clarify.
All right, thank you. All right, and with that, that concludes our public hearings. Moving into our regular agenda. We have our permission to advertise the Pineapple Grove Community Development District.
Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri, before you is a permission to advertise an ordinance establishing the Pineapple Grove Community Development District. This ordinance, in your packet is the petition to establish it and the memorandum. This ordinance would be to establish Pineapple Grove. It's about 200 acres. It's off Angle Avenue, and it's just the community development district. The actual development has already been approved. Through the community development district, the ordinance, if it's advertised, and this is just advertisement tonight, would establish the boundaries, the initial board of the directors, and some special conditions in it. And they have special advertisings for community development districts. It has to be for 4 weeks and things like that. So it's just staff asking you whether you want to grant the permission to advertise.
All right. Questions, comments from the board?
I'll make a comment. I don't like these. I'm sure y'all don't either. However, this makes it affordable and a path forward for people to be able to afford to build. So this is legally disclosed. They sign stuff. And if this isn't done, the developer's going to pass it anyway. So this gives somebody a $350,000 house that they can qualify for to be financed, versus if it doesn't happen, the developer is going to pay it and do what they have to do, but then they're going to put it in there, and then that $50,000, $75,000 is a threshold sometimes for people to not be qualified due to their income. So this isn't one of my favorite things to do. However, I know that there is a lot of legal that goes into this. They are notified, and so to me, it's a path forward to have it so that people can afford to buy a home. So I'm fine. I'm going to, if you want a motion, I'll motion to approve, but the rest of the board can speak.
Comments?
No comment.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Lowry.
this is probably one thing I am going to talk about tonight. Been pretty quiet, but I have personal experience with this. Years ago, I was looking to purchase a home that had a CDD, and it was a resale property, and the price looked good originally on Zillow, and then we kind of went to the table and realized the extra assessments that are going to be on there, as well as the HOA, and it turned me against buying property. Just happened to be driving by a neighborhood in Port St. Lucie that has a big sign out front, no CDDs. And it's like a selling feature to not have to purchase in, a specific area that has that additional assessment. I took some time to really reach out to people that live in those CDDs, and I know we have quite a few of them in the county and in the city, and I'm just not favorable because I feel like on the resale end of it, when we might have some stipulations where they're very transparent in the beginning, but just for resale, it's not always so transparent. I've just never really been in favor of it. I know it's going to pass. I might be the only one that has this feeling, but I talked to a lot of people that live in those CDDs, and that extra assessment makes a huge difference when it comes to tax time. And unfortunately, you're kind of like putting a house out there that you think you can pay for and you can afford the mortgage, but then when it comes to the assessment, then you're like, oh, this is not necessarily what I signed up for. So unfortunately, it's just something that I don't agree with, but that's just my opinion, and I felt like I just needed to get that out there tonight.
Perfect. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Clasby.
I'd like to echo Commissioner Lowry's comments regarding CDDs. And I'd like to ask our attorney a question. Are we under any obligation to advertise this or approve it?
Definitely not to approve it. There is standards to approve that you would consider at the public hearing.
As far as advertising?
I think you should consider those standards at a public hearing. So I would recommend that you consider advertising and then going through the standards at the public hearing.
So tonight, we're only considering
Permission to advertise.
to advertise for a public notice for a future, which we would then be able to utilize some sort of standard to deny at that time.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to just point out that this is just permission to advertise, so when it gets to the next point is when we would really, as Ms. Barbieri said, kind of dig into it and look at everything. So I'm comfortable with just permission to advertise again. It's not a final decision tonight, so that's where I would be. And any kind of motion?
I made the motion. to
Oh,
approve.
you did? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, motion's unanimous then.
Okay, Madam Chair?
Mhm.
Since the data for litigation with this proposed bankruptcy and everything, I'm willing to make a motion just to move this along. I don't think any of us are really going to disagree
No.
with the special counsel's recommendation, so I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Great, and brings us to the end. Commissioner comments?
I have one.
Commissioner Townsend?
So I'm giving you an update on the medical examiner's building. Good news, the college has presented their interlocal agreement, and they are going to be taking it before their legislative board on August 26th. And our purchasing department has advertised for the qualifications, and it's out for solicitation to find a qualified contractor. So we're moving along with that building.
Perfect, excellent. Thank you for that
Exciting.
update. Commissioner Reed, anything?
Yes, I'd like to recognize AT&T and the Boys and Girls Club. A few of us commissioners went to the giveaway of 250 laptops along with internet service with tutorial and service to underserved children in our community, and it's going to be a big help with these kids. Not only did AT&T give them that, but they also gave them backpacks with school supplies, 250 of them. The Boys and Girls Club also is getting another, I believe, 125 computers, and our library system is trying to get some more through a grant. So we are trying to get computers out there to our children that can't afford them, get them internet through the LTPT, Local Technology Planning Team, and so far it seems to be working very, very well.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Madam Chair, I just want to give St. Lucie County Public Schools a shout out for getting an A rating for our district. I think this is the first time in history. As a former educator, it means a lot to me because I know the impact that teachers make on, the youth in our county, and there's a lot of pressure on our teachers. It's a lot of hard work. They're very underpaid, and to be part of that recognition the other day with the school board just really empowered me to feel like I wanted to come up here and thank all of the teachers in St. Lucie County, all the paraprofessionals, everyone that makes St. Lucie County schools an A rating, because it's a lot of hard work, and I'm so proud of them. And you can feel the energy in the room. The teachers are motivated, and there wasn't, as a teacher prior, I feel like that was the best way to go into a new school year, is knowing that you are at the top. So now they have really high expectations to keep that, but I'm very proud of all of our teachers and our superintendent and all of the staff here in St. Lucie County.
Absolutely. Commissioner Claspy?
Madam Chair. Yeah, I can't be more proud of the school district as well. And it's not just the teachers, it's the district staff. I mean, former teacher, the district staff comes into our schools and plans with us and really does a great job at making it just a collaborative environment for planning. And then also the students, of course, they're the ones that made the grades. And I spoke with Dr. Prince at the kickoff, and expressed to him that I want to remain involved in civics somehow, whether it be through the Project Citizen to allow some of those projects to utilize county policies and things like that, and going in and after school. I encourage the rest of the board to look into that as well. I feel that this is a good time to mention, we've previously talked about minimum standards for PUDs, updating those. I think that it's worthwhile to get that going, given some of the issues with some of the PUD developments we had this evening. I think that it's beyond time that we come up with a minimum standard that what we would accept for a PUD development to make it more clear for applicants before they come to the board.
Commissioner Claus, I don't see Ben here. Oh, he's back. He's hiding. He's hiding. I do believe that is in the queue to address. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we just talked about it this week or last week, so I know it's right there towards the top of the to-do list.
And good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioner Fowler, Commissioner Clasby. Yes, that is on our to-do list. As soon as we get done with our evaluation and appraisal review updates of our comp plan and impact fees, that'll be the next thing that we tackle before the end of the year.
I love a good text amendment.
Me too. I feel like I do those frequently. So.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll just share, and all great updates, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, the county overall, we're doing great. Our school district just really in a good place. So a couple of the initiatives I had started to talk about staff on, which they should start making their way with you guys. And one of the residents sort of hit on it. It's just getting tired of all the lack of transparency, if you will, across the board in terms of, it's just sort of like the resident said, one thing after another. It's just one case of, not great optics or not good transparency. So one of the things that I've talked to the team about is I would like a searchable site on the web, on our webpage, where everyone discloses within the county whether they have do they have a second job and they work at this location, or do they sit on a board for another, a nonprofit, whether it's paid, not paid. I should be listed on there as being on the board of directors for Boys and Girls Club. It's very frustrating where it's just one after another of where basically residents are calling us and government out for these types of things. So I have already talked to legal. They think it's a great idea. I've started to have these conversations. There's another thing too. Currently, if you lobby for an organization, you do have to disclose that with the clerk of court. That's something else that I want on our website, easily searchable, to be more transparent. We should know who's lobbying, for MV Transportation or what have you. So just wanted to share, those are some of the conversations. Those are some things that should start making their way around to you guys. I'm looking to redo our board applications to put a little more grit into them to make sure that people are being truthful and honest in their applications. So these are some of the things that have really just not been sitting right with me. I'd like to see some transparency and just better access for the residents to know what's going on and our ties. So,
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Townsend.
I think those are all good ideas, but we should already be doing that. So we have a bio on our website, and on the website you have your little bio, and it lists every board you're on, everything outside, not just the county boards, but any boards that you sit on. So like mine lists, I'm on Life Builders, and I started a charter school. All of that is on my bio on the website. So everything I've been involved with since I have been in this county, going back to when I was with the Deaf Service Center, it's all on my bio. So.
But not everyone searches there, and it shouldn't just be for us. It should be for every employee that works for the county. Everyone should
Okay.
know if someone in planning also holds a part-time position doing something for inspections, right? Like, or if someone's part of a sports team, a nonprofit sport, whatever it is. I want that extra open government transparency. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
are you wanting a link? Then every employee's going to be listed only if they have something outside this job?
That's what the team is working on putting together, but it would be something where, yes, right on our webpage, you would be able to search and see who's tied to what.
I mean, I'm not against it. I'm just saying that's a lot of work if we're going to list 900 people and what
It
they
is.
do. But I'm understanding you correctly. If they don't have anything else and they only have this job, they're not on that site.
Correct.
So it would only be the people that have something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Cosby.
So I think that's a fantastic idea for transparency. We should always be, leading for transparent government, open government. And, I mean, as a former county employee, I know that you have to report to HR when you're moonlighting. Is that still the case?
That is
and
the
so
case.
this would make it publicly accessible so people could see outside of pulling an HR file. I like that idea.
We're currently reviewing best practices from other agencies and trying to come up with something so we're not recreating or inventing an own wheel. So we're looking at everything. So as we get it put together, we'll be circling around and sharing with all 5 of you as we work forward. But we know it's a priority of the board.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Mr. Landry, for upcoming meetings.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners will hold an informal meeting on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025 at 9 a.m. here in these commission chambers. And also the Board of County Commissioners will hold a regular board meeting on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 at 9 a.m. here in these commission chambers located at 2300 Virginia Avenue. And Eric will close us out with 3 announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Landy. Madam Chair, Commissioners, for the record, Eric Gill, Communications Director. St. Lucie County's aquatic staff continues to offer low-impact, high-energy aquafit classes at the Lakewood Park Pool on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, with 2 30-minute sessions starting at 10 and 10:30 in the morning, not in the evening. The cost is $5 per class, and then for questions or residents have interest in signing up, they can call 772-462-3772 or visit stlucieco.gov/aquatics. The Levitt Amp Fort Pierce Concert Series is underway now through October with free musical acts performing in downtown Fort Pierce, presented in partnership with St. Lucie County, the City of Fort Pierce, and the Cultural Alliance. For details on the dates and artists performing at that series, please visit artstlucie.org/Levitt. And the last one, hopefully, I had to knock on wood because this is not Please real do. wood. Hopefully we don't need this, but as we enter the peak of hurricane season, residents are reminded that now is the time to trim trees and vegetation in their yards. Please do not wait till there is a storm threatening our area. Residents who may need emergency sheltering for storms are encouraged to pre-register now for our pet-friendly and medical special needs shelters. And they can do those and register for those, as well as find other hurricane preparedness tips at readystlucie.org.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.